Rain with the penultimate delivery of the over. That's played to Lees. He's sort of advanced mid-on. Ball fired in along the ground from Hill. Stopped by Lees.
The stream gone down.
Has the stream gone down?
For some reason I'm not getting the come back to the sort of picture.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean on NV. Yeah.
Just maybe have to refresh. Yeah, just refreshed.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Last ball of this 17th over from Rain. Short, hooked. Fernando can't get there. Deep backward square leg. It's 4 more. He wasn't far away from it. Also, the boundary tapers in where he is. That was across to his right.
Rain. Eyes to the heavens, because it wasn't there for quite a long time, so I guess the plan in a way came close to coming off there, but still don't think it's a necessary plan. But a 47 for 3. Himba is going to have to try and deal with Matty Potts steaming in as he did coming into the game late at the Upton Steel County Ground earlier this summer. Looking every inch an England fast bowler. Potts, athletic young man. Leg slip. Clark is in 2 slips and a short leg, as well as Potts is in 2. Kimber, who's pulling a slightly short-ish delivery, stayed in control of it, waited for it, and made sure it was along the ground all the way as it went past short leg out to the man. The deep-ish square, deep square-ish area just in front of square. It's Alex Lees out there trying to engage Matty Parkinson in conversation. Parkinson on his last day as a low-knee Durham player before heading to Kent. Potts is in, bowls to Hill. Fuller this time. Hill goes forward, closes the back face on the ball as he pushes it out towards Fernando at mid-on. Potts 2 for 15 from 8.2. Rain 1 for 24. 60 wickets for Ben Rain. What a season he has had. And they're now doing some impressively limber stretches of down there at mid-on as Potts comes charging in and bowls short down the leg side. That wasn't a great bouncer. Hill stepped across, got in position to try and hook it, and it was too wide down the leg side. Just let it go through to Robinson. It's behind cloud at the moment here. But the hearts of the Durham spectators warm nonetheless with what has been a wonderful season for them. Most people seem to think from the outside that they will more than hold their own, or are capable of more than holding their own in First Division cricket. I guess a certain amount will depend on the availability of the likes of Potts as Clark goes to leg gully, comes in and bowls. Forward goes Hill to deliver it on off stump. You heard that shout of no as he saw it was going. Not quite straight to Bushnell, just slightly to his left, but close enough for him to get down and make the stop. Hill on to 12. With just the single, he's only faced a couple of deliveries. He'd love to finish the season with a good innings. Needs to, probably. Louis, an immensely talented cricketer. As Potts is in, bowl short and out just about outside off stump, and Hill again got in position to pull or hook, but dropped his hands, let it bounce through. So comes back out. Everything goes very right as a consequence, especially the outfield, which is very green, of course, as most outfields are at the moment. Rain is having a chat to Potts as he hands him rather than throws him the ball. rolls his shoulders at mid-on as Potts is in and bowls edged. Oh, he's going to get away with it. He was squared up by the bouncer, had no idea where the ball had gone, came off the shoulder of the bat, looped just wide of Bushnell at backward point. Well, another good hostile over from Matty Potts, and that last ball, well, the edge could have blown anywhere, and Hill got away with it. He remains on 12. Leicestershire remain 48 for 3. Looks like Fernando is going to replace Ben Rain.
Took 4 for 40, I think it was, in the first innings. 4 for 40 in 10 overs, 2 maidens. Rain 5 for 51 in 16 overs in the first innings. And 5 maidens. I'm just looking at Rain's figures here this year. He's now bowled nearly 500 overs, so he's bowled 484, I think it is, maybe 485. 60 wickets, average of 24.81, strike rate, economy rate of just 3.7. And this was his first fifer, despite all the wickets he's taken this season, and got to 60 for the first time. This was the first game this year where he recorded a fifer, but he's bowled way more overs than anybody else. As Fernando comes in to bowl to Kimber. Left arm over from the Finker line. That angles across and goes low to the keeper. Matthew Potts hasn't played in all the games, so Rain's played in all 14. Potts has played in 11, but in 2 of those, this one and the game at Leicester, he was a replacement midway through the match. So he's bowled 365 overs, taken 54 wickets. Average of 21. His economy rate 3.2. So Potter's about 120 overs down the line from him. Fernando in. Rain is. This is played up to Rain by Kimber. 1 run. Fernando angles in, bowls, Kimber forward, plays the ball on the bounce, just kills it on the track. Next delivery comes, and that's left alone. Pitches and rises wide of off stump. Keeper takes it. Next delivery off the pads is a big appeal. Was going too far across, I think. Yeah, I think maybe an inside edge onto the pads as well. It was Hill who was given out in the first innings, LBW, the one we thought he'd hit under the pads. That was off Fernando. Looked very disappointed to be given out when he was. Kimber almost in a similar situation there as well. Fernando's brought Potts from mid-wicket into... where's he going? Silly mid on, silly mid off. Fernando in. That's gone down the leg side, taken by the keeper, and that is the end of the over. It was a maiden. So Leicestershire 48 for 3, trailing by 266. Liam Travaskis is coming on the field as a 12th man. And Matt Parkinson is going off. Opportunity for Liam to say his goodbyes to the Durham spectators. He's taken up position at long leg, which is where Parkinson was when Evans hooked a ball straight to him off Potts when he was on 10.
Yeah, he could be in the game. Because I don't think Potts will hold back from a few more short balls at Hill, who's shown a propensity to take it on. Short leg and leg gully as well. Potts is in, bowls. Hill is turning it between short leg and leg gully out towards backward square. Lees jogs in from deepish backward square to field. Hill takes 1, moves on to 13. Brings Kimber back down on strike. This Louis Kimber's 22nd first-class game. Does have a century, 750s. The destructive batsman on his day hits it a long, long way. He's a big, solid figure, of course, one of 3 brothers who all play cricket, well, probably every sport, frankly, but golf certainly, to a disconcertingly high standard. Right, short leg has gone back to gully as Potts is in to Kimber, who gets a short ball just outside off stump, gets up on his toes, blocks it out into the offside.
Who's played golf at a high level?
The Kimber brothers all play to sort of very close to scratch.
Right.
If not scratch or plus something, you know,
Yeah, some of the pros are
ridiculously good.
Handicaps, aren't they?
Yeah. They're ridiculously good. Waits with a bat very high as in goes Potts. Bowls a slightly loopy bouncer down the leg side. Got that a bit wrong. Then he points to Beddingham at mid-wicket and says, or deepish mid-wicket, says, you come back into, where's he going to end up? Short leg. Somebody's had garlic in here.
What was it?
From a distance.
Powder? What's in a cocktail?
Garlic, I can tell you that.
Lamb and mince, yeah.
Garlic.
Yeah. That's going to clear my throat in a minute. Was that lunch? Early lunch or late breakfast?
I tell you what, mate, we're safe from vampires at the moment. We are very safe. They'll give us a very wide berth.
Well, it's funny you could say that. He's got some silver bullets with him as well.
Potts is into Kimber, short pulled, but again, he had time there, Kimber. He sees it early and gets on top of it, and swivels and pulls it around the corner down towards Travaskis. And that is the Leicestershire 50, which is greeted with a, well, one or two Leicester supporters might feel a slightly condescending round of applause, but they would be wrong. It's a genuine one. 50 up for the Foxes, 50 for 3 in their second innings. Now Clark is being moved. He's being moved just about every ball at the moment. He's going to sort of catching position behind square as full from Potts, dropped by Hill off the back foot. Oh, out
Sneaky.
towards mid on. Fernando comes running in and flicks the ball sideways at the stumps at the non-strikers, then misses them. I think Hill had made his ground, but probably would have required a decision of umpire Lungley.
I'm not saying it will happen today, but there have been 2 recent visits from Leicestershire where they've batted out all the final day. Under the cosh, was one where Mark Cosgrove headed the ball.
Oh, yeah. That was fun. Good old Cosgrove.
Got a bouncer off Ben Rain and headed it away.
And in goes Potts, bowls to Kimber, who is forward. No big stride on off stump, blocking the ball out towards wideish mid off, where Rain picks it up, and then the umpire made him take the helmet off and made the physio come out and examine it and all sorts of it. And he barely brushed it, hadn't he? Yeah, I remember that. That was a very sunny, warm midsummer's day.
Yeah, the pitch was just flat as a pancake, wasn't it? And just battered all day. Last year, the same thing happened as well, didn't it? Here, wasn't it a draw?
Nutted a bouncer. That was a one-off. Only Cozzy would do that.
Well, I've got 2022 board draw in Chesley Street in my notes. Was that Durham's opening home game turned into a draw, which would become the hallmark of the season, it says there. Durham 34 for 3 after 17 overs before David Beddingham made 191 and Sean Dixon 120. So Beddingham's got 3 centuries in a row against Leicestershire, 145 Grace Road this year and his 156 in this match. That's off the pads, but that seems to be going down the leg side. I'm not excited about that at all, and it's not given.
They're pitched outside, that's his problem.
So they put on 231. Ben Rain made 51. Leicestershire then bowled out for 273. Matty Potts took 6 for 58. Then Colin Ackerman made 81. Hassan had 66 in 206 balls. And Owen again played away safely by Hill to Travascus at short extra cover. Leicestershire were trailing by 155 when they were out, and then Durham declared their second innings on 239 for 2 to give them a lead of 394, with Michael Jones making 108. They gave themselves all of the final day to try and bowl Leicestershire out on a lifeless track, but they managed to take only 2 wickets as the side shook hands with the visitors 183 runs, having batted for 80 overs. Fernando in, driven. It's a nice shot there from Hill. That might go for 4. It's being chased by Parkinson from mid-off. Is that Parkinson or not? Yeah. His sunglasses have either fallen off the back of his cap or out the back of his whites, and they're lying on the floor at the moment. They run 3. Sam Evans made 77, so they batted 80 overs, only lost 2 wickets. And a similar thing happened at Worcester not long after that last year. All the heroics of Ben Stokes and smashing the sixes all over. The final day, Durham only managed to take, I think, the 1 wicket of Hassan Azad just before tea. Was it Azad Ali who was playing for Worcestershire? Azhar Ali. Next ball, thuds into the pads again. It looks like it's going down the leg side. Nobody really wanted to join into that appeal. So 54 for 3. Patel was out for 16, caught off a short one behind the stumps by Ollie Robinson off the bowling of Matty Potts. Then Evans caught by Matt Parkinson down at long leg on 10 as he just hooked a ball from Potts straight to him. And then Amin, 4th ball duck, bowled by Ben Rain, off stump, left it alone to give Rain his 60th wicket of the season. 60 wickets in the championship for the first time. Fernando bowls. Ball steered by Kimber up to Potts at mid-on. Gives it a bit of a polish. Bit overcast at the moment. Sun's around the back of us somewhere. Was nice and sunny when we first got here, but judging by the look of the spectators in the County Durham stand, they're all in their coats and arms folded. Looks a little bit chilly out there at the moment. Fernando with a Yorker, dug out by Kimber, just jabbed the bat down on it, off stump. And that is the end of the 21st over. So Leicestershire 54 for 3, trail by 260 here. BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Radio Leicester.
Yeah, it was a bit of a breakthrough season for Louis Kimber last season. He scored a first-class century and a List A century, but he hasn't really had as many opportunities as he would have liked or arguably deserved this season. This is just his 6th first-class game of the season, and this, therefore, his 8th innings, high score of 61, and only that 150 to his name. So So he would like to make a bit of impression in this his last innings, I'm sure. He's definitely more than just a white ball hitter, that is for sure. John Bushnell is having a go from the Lumley end, bowls down the leg side, and Hill just clips him away neatly out towards Lees at deep square, takes the one.
Neil says, Marty Cricket, so like Leicestershire. He says, I like Leicestershire because I've managed to make it to the last day. Looking forward to seeing Durham pick up the trophy this afternoon. Michael Tilbrook, many thanks to you and your co-commentators for the excellent coverage of this brilliant red ball season. A boon especially to those of us exiled in foreign parts.
Bushnell is in bowl, slightly short of a length on off stump. Kimber, a tall man up on his toes, blocks it out into the offside. Travaskis comes running into field on point, and there's no run.
Ash Thorpe joins us. Have you had the dreaded vote of confidence, Ash?
From anywhere in particular?
For the football?
Yeah, all good.
Mm.
All good.
Down in York yesterday, weren't you?
It was cricket yesterday, actually.
Cricket,
Yeah.
Oh, that was football.
No, cricket yesterday.
Bushnell is in bowls, looking to drive straight, bit of a thick inside edge from Louis Kimber, but he gets plenty of bat on it, works it out wide of Fernando, out towards mid-wicket, so takes one, moves on to 3.
Came a comfortable second
Yeah.
in the game.
Because in my school mind, once we got back in September, we didn't play any cricket anymore. It was all football. But obviously, you've got the Cricket Academy, haven't you?
So Queen Ethelburgers down at York were putting a little cricket festival week on. We managed to get a game in last night.
Bushnell bowls. Hill almost plays on. Goodness me, that could not have been much closer. It was a slightly tentative push on the front foot to a delivery just outside off stump. He rehearses the leave he arguably should have played. Took a thick inside edge, and well, that was very, very close. Stumps remain, however, undisturbed.
Was it under floodlights, was it?
Yeah,
right.
They've got excellent facilities down there. They're actually playing a game today as well to round the cricket season off.
Bushnell bowls again to Hill, who is careful this time on off stump, stretching forward and defending back down the pitch towards John Bushnell.
Anybody from the Durham ranks playing for them? Because Harry Crawshaw was there, wasn't he?
They had a couple of lads in the Yorkshire system. A young lad called Leo Wilson scored a really nice 100 actually, and a wicket keeper who I think it was called Hall played very nicely and stood up to all the keepers. Bit old school.
Bushnell is in slightly short of a length on off stump. Hill defends, drops it out towards backward point, picked up by Travaskis. End of Bushnell's over. That's slightly unfortunate. Picked up a wicket in it as well. Leicestershire 56 for 3. 80 overs remain for the champions to take 7 more wickets.
Yeah, productive morning. Ben Rain hitting the 60 mark with the 2 types of leave from Amin, and he's off stump wedged in the ground, wasn't it? With the point, which was
clip it, did it?
No, it smashed it out of the ground. And Potts, it's just a different, is a point of difference, as you would say, that extra pace and aggression and nip off the pitch that he provides, which is international standard.
Fernando off the pads, playing across the line here, possibly leg side-ish again for Kimber. Not given.
Struck the pads a few times, hasn't he? The ball just shaping into the right-hander.
I think it's pitching leg side.
I think it's pitched outside leg and probably might hit the stumps, but not doing all the right things.
He's getting closer though.
Yeah, he is.
No question.
It's in the old club cricket, isn't it? The old 3rd and 4th appeal. You start to scream a bit louder. But good decisions so far.
I hadn't noticed that when Rain bowled Amin that the
wedge.
Yeah. Oh, that's out. No doubt about that. That's the off stump about 10 yards from the other 2. And that's the end of Kimber. He's bowled by Fernando for 3. So Leicestershire now 56 for 4. 20 added for that wicket. He hung around for a while, but They don't appear long for this world. 19 balls he faced, but the off-stump gone. He went a little bit back into his crease there, but that previous wicket from Rain, which got Amin, the off-stump cartwheeled backwards and speared into the ground and stood up again.
That's excellent bowling from Fernando there. He's really challenged the stumps. Kimber a little bit stuck on the crease.
Yeah, he's just wondering. He's worried me a little bit towards the end of this season. Technically, Louis is getting out of position somehow with those sort of deliveries, and he's got a bit to work on this winter.
Something tall players, isn't it? He's a clean ball striker, and tall players sometimes just struggle to transfer their weight right forward and can get stuck on the crease. But that was some good bowling from Fernando. He's challenged the bat since he started his spell and picks up his reward. 56 for 4. Durham on a roll, which they have been for most of the season. And they definitely know how to finish a game off. Has Parkinson bowled yet in the game?
He hasn't, no.
Oh, so.
And may not.
Just having a look at Lewis Hill down there. He's calling from the 12th man for the physio for something, whether it's some tablets or an inhaler or something. I don't know what that signal was.
I think one or two of the lads who weren't playing were out last night.
I can imagine, yeah.
In Durham, who aren't playing in this game, including the sunglassed Mr. Budinger.
Yeah. Pink tickets, they used to call them back in the day.
Go on.
He's getting some tablet. Yeah, just a free ride, basically, if you might have had a cheeky couple of beers without having any responsibility the following day. He's in the gilet and on a pretty overcast morning.
That's right.
He's got the sunglasses on.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he's taking a couple of tablets there. So
he's probably the 12th man has taken a couple as
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. 56 for 4.
Yes, they look like they're a side that's ready for the end of the season, I'm afraid.
It's a horrible circumstance, isn't it? You'd be playing literally for nothing. I know that they're professional sportsmen, but unfortunately, that as a professional sportsman, there's always something that you want to play for, and when you get into these circumstances,
it's an exchange between Rain and Hill, old teammates and friends, laughing at each other.
Might be asking why he's taking some paracetamol.
Absolutely.
Harry Swindell's then the new man. That's Fernando bowls. It's ended off towards mid-wicket. 2 men in there.
He's going to attack the stumps, isn't he? There's 2 catching mid-wickets. You've got Parkinson, who is at a very short mid-off, kind of in line with the stumps. 2 catches in place in the slips, and then you have a little bit of protection out in the deep backward square and a fine leg. Maybe he might throw in the odd short ball as Swindell's just walked down the wicket with his first ball, trying to negate the swing.
Oh, that comes in again. It's an edge, and that is... oh, it's put out, is it? I thought that was a cracking snatch at second slip by Scott Borthwick there. Thought he'd had that.
It's low to his left and wasn't quite able to cling onto that Borthwick.
I still can't see how he's dropped it. He does a little sort of somersault, doesn't he? But it must have bounced out as he hit the ground. Would have been a canny catch.
Yeah. On the 4th days, you have to creep really close, and you can see how close.
4th day of the last match.
Of the last match of the season, it's nearly October. Yep.
Fernando bowls.
Oh, my goodness.
Good leave. Just a bit stiff of the off stump there.
Just hold your breath a little bit there as a batsman as you put that there, and you just draw the pad out of the way and hope you don't hear that death rattle.
Looks like there will be County Championship cricket at the end of next season as well, around about this time, because I think there's going to be a July and August where it's predominantly just going to be white ball all the way through there. So you'll have County Championship front loaded and 4 weeks at the end maybe. Fernando in, and forward comes Swindell. Smith sat on the bounce.
Right over.
Wicket maiden.
Right over. Wicket maiden there for Fernando and the chance. clever bowling, you would have to say, swinging it back into the right-hander and getting the outside edge from the one that angles across the right-hander, and Borthwick unable to cling on to a tough low chance to his left. But yeah, I'm hearing rumours around the days of the county championship next year are going to be Friday to Monday.
Right, it used to be years ago.
So I hear they're going back to that format. They're looking at playing second team cricket from the Tuesday to the Thursday, so that might be being reduced to 3 days. That's just rumours at the moment.
It was claimed back in the day they were playing a lot of matches Friday to Monday, and then they said they had a questionnaire at which supposedly 250,000 people filled in.
Bushnell is into Hill. He blocks on the back foot, just outside off stump.
And the suggestion was there wasn't much of an appetite for county cricket on a Saturday because too many people were involved with their club sides.
Okay, makes sense.
But I reckon the best crowds were generally a Saturday when they used to play. Certainly during the mid-2000s and early, the teens. It was there were a lot of games on a Saturday.
Bushnell is in. Hill is turning the length delivery away off middle and leg out towards mid-wicket. Hillies is quite deep, so comfortable single.
Saturdays this year have generally been travelling days, haven't they? Because a lot of the matches started on a Sunday, certainly at the start of the season. Just looking through Durham's point haul. So at the minute this year, this game's still going on. They have 217 points for the bonus points from this match. So if they were to win, that would be another 16. So they'd finish on 233. Their best year, the last time they won the title.
Bushnell is into Swindles, who leaves. It isn't probably quite as close as the one from Fernando in the previous over, but it isn't too far away.
Yeah, the slips let him know there, didn't they?
In 2013, when they won Division 1, they got 245.5 points, and that included a run where they won 5 in a row for the first time, got the title just before the end of the season, because actually the final match they lost at Sussex, but that's their record points haul.
Bushnell in, bowls, clip in the air and out. Flipped straight to mid-wicket by Harry Swindles. It was a foolish delivery on middle and leg stump. Swindles tried to clip it away into the leg side. All he did was lift it straight to Lees at mid-wicket. And the procession continues. That was another really poor dismissal on the part of a Leicestershire batsman.
Yeah, soft there. Bushnell just angling that ball into the leg stump and clipped away by Swindles. And unfortunately, that ends his season on a low after the highs of the previous week. And he'd be disappointed with that one as he trudges off away without score, caught by
Lees, wasn't it?
Alex Lees. As you say there, it was pretty tame, is what you would say, and he'd be disappointed with that one.
Yeah. And it's been a pretty tame effort, really, from Leicestershire overall in the game. And there are excuses, of course. There are that they're down on numbers, and obviously there's coming down from the high of the one-day cup final. But even so, and the fact that they knew they couldn't get promoted after the Yorkshire washout, really. But even so, they can do better than this. Fox hasn't shown they can. And Hill, at the moment, he's 19 not out, but needs someone to dig in with him.
Cox?
Yeah, I would imagine so. It should be after this.
Yes, this could be Leicestershire's lowest score against Durham. Previous was 101, bowled out here by Durham after Durham had been forced to follow on in May 2018. Durham won. Ben Cox, the new man.
So an opportunity here for these two to put on a partnership. Cox new to the club and be looking to set down a marker as to how he wants his 3 years to proceed.
Yeah, batted well in the first innings. 30 not out. A good half century at Sussex also.
A test of Hill's leadership skills out there as well here. Oh, a lot on the shoulders of these two. But Durham, as we said, are on a right roll here. Picked up 5 wickets this morning.
Yeah, in less than 90 minutes.
Mm. And that one, you'd have to say, is probably the softest of the lot.
So Bushnell comes in to Cox bowls. Cox gets a ball that he clips neatly off his toes out through mid-wicket, along the ground all the way. And it's Parkinson who gets there first, running back from long leg. Lee's continued his pursuit, so Parkinson flicks the ball up to him. And the relay means that it's still always going to be 3 probably in those circumstances, but I suppose it could have been 4 if they'd really motored, but would have had to really motor. So Cox off the mark.
Yeah, don't need to run out at 57 for 5. Take the 3, get off the mark and sit at the other end for a little bit if I was Cox. But yeah, nice way to get off the mark.
Bushnell to finish his over is in, bowls outside off stump 2. Hill, who steps forward and leaves his bat raised. Lets it go through. A wicket in the over for Jonathan Bushnell. I think that's his first off the game. 1 for 6 from 2 overs. So he didn't get any luck in his first over when Hill inside edge just past the stumps, but it came in his second.
Very much finding his way with the ball. He was restricted from bowling for the last couple of years with some knee issues, but he spent the winter out at Scarborough Cricket Club in Perth, and he took the new ball out there, so his bowling's really come on over the last probably 12 months, and getting an opportunity here with Buster Leader being away on international duty, more than handy all rounder, just growing into his role here at the club, and one to keep an eye on for Durham fans. And a good character as well, one of those cheeky lads who's just always looks like he's up to no good. But he's a beauty.
Potts very close in on the offside. And Lee's very close in on the leg side. Fernando, the left armour, coming in to bowl to Cox, who's on 3. That is that 2 point, no run there. Coming up to midday.
Yeah, big 35 minutes here. Leicestershire can try and build a partnership and frustrate Durham. If Durham can pick up another wicket here, you fancy that they'll just rip right through the remainder of the Leicestershire lineup.
Fernando bowls. It's gone down the... Well, it hasn't gone down the leg side. It's been played this deep square leg for 1 by Cox.
Timed nicely, wasn't it?
Mm.
Little flurry with the hands.
Bedding him out there, fielding with his back to the castle stand. The sun is shining all of a sudden. Looks a nicer scene when the sun's out.
Always does. It's a bit fresh this morning. Had some pretty mild temperatures over the week, but it's a little bit fresher. That breeze coming across the ground from the west.
Storm Agnes came in the other day. Left the ground a bit damp yesterday, which led to a delayed start. This is a quick single. Push to the covers.
Excellent.
By Hill. Good quick single there. Fernando.
Yeah. She didn't offer much up here, did she, Storm Agnes?
Not really. I took my daughter to the rowing club. It all sounds very posh, but it's not really. She's just started rowing, and there's a rowing club on the weir, so I was sitting down there and basically sitting in the car watching something on my phone and looked up to see these white clouds bombing past the new bridge on the River Weir, but it wasn't raining at the time. It just got windy for a while, and then later that evening, as Fernando comes in here to bowl, turned nicely away off the middle stump by Cox down towards deep mid-wicket for at least 2. Clark's come round the boundary, fields it in front of the old scoreboard, and they run 3. Good running. Anyway, I went across town to see the Poet Laureate Simon Armitage, who was with his band LYR at Poprex, and popped outside briefly to make a phone call. And although the wind was whipping past and there was a little bit of drizzle, it was a really warm wind.
Yeah.
And I don't think it delivered its worst here.
definitely not.
Certainly there was a bit of dampness yesterday, which the umpires were concerned about after the water had run off the covers at the far end of the ground. But Fernando bowls. Oh, that's a lovely delivery. And that's Hill gone. And his stump is a few yards from the others as well. And he's being yorked there. The off-stump cartwheels.
Midland leg, I think.
Yeah.
Well, there's
The off-stump, yeah, the off-stump's got, no, there's two. Cause
two.
Middle's
Yeah, you might be right there.
leg.
Sorry.
Off-stump's away.
He's played right across the line there. It was a full ball. He's tried to whip it away across to the leg side, and Fernando picks up another wicket. He's had a really good match here. He now has 2 for 8. And Lewis Hill goes. Bowled by Fernando for 20. And Leicestershire in all sorts of trouble here at 65 for 6.
8 put on for that wicket, so the partnership's 23, 10, 3, 21 and 8.
Busiest men on the ground are the two Durham 12th men who keep coming on for fielders and bowlers, but they keep running the drinks on at the fall of a wicket.
And the umpires having to replace all these stumps. So Leicestershire in a total mess here. They are 249 behind. And the way the wickets are falling now, we've got another half an hour to go to lunch, but we could be in extra half-hour territory at this rate. If you're in the house or you're nearby and you're thinking about coming to see Durham presented with the trophy, today's the day to get yourselves down.
I'd make it quick.
Yeah. You'd think at the way things are going, it would be sometime early afternoon.
I think it's Scriven, the new batsman. Out to the middle. It is. Just waiting for him. Just looking the way he walked there and just waiting for his number to be a bit visible. And now it's popped up on the scoreboard as well, which is useful. So Scriven is the new batsman with a lot of work to do here. 65 for 6. And Fernando, 3.5 overs, 2 for 8. After picking up some wickets yesterday afternoon. Bring Durham in a very, very strong position to finish their already excellent championship season on a high.
Coming to us in the 12 o'clock news in a few minutes. Fernando then to Scriven. Scriven leans in and basically scoops up a yorker wide of off stump and plays it back to the bowler. Another wicket for Fernando. He's taken 2 for 8 in 4 overs, including 2 maidens, a wicket maiden among those as well.
Johnny Bushnell will continue from the Lumley end. Picked up a wicket in his last over also. He'll be bowling to Ben Cox, who's off to a little bit of a flyer, 7 from 4. Looked in good control since he's arrived at the crease. Be 2 slips in place for Bushnell. Jones and Borthwick keeping Ollie Robinson company, and we have a gully in place in Graham Clark as Bushnell comes in. Right arm over the wicket, and this is right on the money, and a defensive prod gets a thick inside edge out into the leg side, and Cox will get another single, moving himself onto 8 and score under 66 for 6. Parkinson and Lees race each other to get to the ball. Be just having an update with Mardy shortly. BBC Radio Newcastle, where he has plenty to update the listeners with. Scriven now taking guard, just assessing the field. There's Johnny Bushnell will come in. And Bushnell right on the money, and this one's pushed out into the offside by Scriven for no run.
Bernard says, any bowler who can take an average 4 wickets in each game they've played is having a good season on the flat tracks of 2023. Anybody who can pass 50 wickets has had an exceptional summer. Ben Rain deserves his rewards, along with Matthew Potts.
Yeah, he's had an excellent summer spearheading this attack. As Bushnell comes in now, and this is driven by Scriven. Up to mid-off for no run.
Well, they've got 39 bowling points, Durham. So three a game. What's that maths work out as? They haven't got maximum bowling points in every match, but nearly every game.
And Bushnell comes in, and Scriven edges and gets it through the vacant gap there between slips and the gully, and that will run away for 4. So Scriven is off the mark, and that moves the score on to 70 for 6.
So there's 42 bowling points up for grabs each season, and they've got 39 this year. So only 3 they haven't had.
Yeah. They've done well. They've had an excellent season all round, haven't they?
Can you hear output?
I can, mate, yeah. And full credit to the playing staff and the coaching staff and all the medical staff as well to keep everybody going fit on the field. They've been pretty consistent as Bushnell comes in again, and this one's driven out into the offside, and Bedingham does the fielding. But a lot of things have got to go right. They haven't really suffered massively with injuries to key players this year, but everybody's contributed, and just the positive energy that's around the place has seems to have rubbed off on everybody. Sorry if it sounds like a bit of a love-in, but they've deserved what they've got. 70 for 5 as Bushnell comes in, and Scriven just plays across his front pad this time. And it'll be another dot, and that ends the over, and it is 70 for 6. And we'll just wait for Marty now to update on BBC Radio Newcastle.
Newcastle have a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday.
First time.
That'll never catch on.
Mm.
Yeah, Leicestershire in a bit of a mess here. They were forced to follow on last night. They're currently 70 for 6 in their second innings. So they're still 244 runs away from making Durham bat again. And they could be heading for their lowest score against Durham, which was their previous was 101 here in a defeat in 2018. Of the hallmarks today, Ben Rain getting his 60th championship wicket of the season. It's the first time he's done that. There's been a couple of wickets for Matthew Potts as well, and a couple for Vishwa Fernando, the Sri Lankan overseas player. Johnny Bushnell's got one as well. He's just got Swindell's out for a duck. So, in theory, lunch is at 12:30, but if Durham get another wicket or 2 on the board, certainly 8 down, there'd be an extra half hour. And then they presented with the championship trophy this afternoon. So I suggest if you want to see that, you should start making your way to Chester Street now.
There you go.
Fernando then continues from the Finkel end. Cox having pulled a previous delivery too deep backward square for 1. Fernando is in bowls, full edged and dropped short of Robinson, who picks it up very neatly away to his
Casual,
right.
wasn't it?
It was so casual. I wasn't sure he'd had it. I think he did. Reaching for it a bit was Scriven. Went too low, and Robinson just sort of scooped it up. Yeah, like he was in the nets.
It was. It's like you look at the coach as if he's made a mistake as he's thrown them to you. That one just scooped it up beautifully.
Potts in that silly mid-off position as Fernando is in 2. Scriven bowls down the leg side. Robinson has to extend himself on that occasion, dives away, but again there's a sort of ease with which he did so, falling away to his left behind the stumps down the leg side, taking it cleanly.
You can imagine they're pretty relaxed out there right now and enjoying it. There's not often in sport you get to know these moments where you've already won the championship and you're right in control of this game.
Yeah, a lot of smiles out there.
Yeah, enjoy the moment. All that hard work that they put in the off-season and all the way through, the sacrifices that they make. This is why they do it.
Fernando is in, Scriven is forward, and he's played that firmly out into the gap in the covers. He's going to pick up at least, well, actually 3 is absolute certainty, as it's picked up around about a yard inside the ropes by Bushnell. Long run back for him. 60, 70 yards maybe from point to the boundary. And Scriven picks up the 3.
Nice bit of timing, that, wasn't it? It was just a push that ran all the way across the long square here at the riverside. Fernando's having a think about bowling around the wicket. Scratching the footmarks there. He's going to continue, I think, might be around the wicket to Scriven and over to Cox. 74 for 6.
Tall, lean figure runs away from us, bowls to Ben Cox, who is pushing forward a little uncertainly. Dropping it out into the offside pots. As keen to be fully involved as ever. Who runs away to his left and fields.
Absolutely. Always wants to be involved, Potsy. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to get Borthwick out of slip. He loves to catch as well. Got good hands, the big quick.
Yeah, he looks at every inch an athlete as well.
Oh, he is. He's built like an Olympic swimmer at the moment. It's huge.
Fernando is in. Ben Cox is defending on the back foot. He looks fairly... I think Leicestershire supporters will be encouraged from what they've seen of Ben Cox. He looks at a very sort of competent bat as well as an excellent wicket keeper. End of the over, 74 for 6. Fernando 2 for 12 from 5. He's certainly had an impact in this game. 6 wickets in it. John Bushnell has also picked up a wicket in this spell.
Yeah, from the Leicester point of view, I think Cox is a great signing. He's an excellent wicket keeper and he's probably a top order batsman. He's somebody that you could probably put up to 6 and balance your side around with this extra spinner or the extra seamer. A little bit like what Durham do with Robinson.
I think from what we've seen him in this game, he certainly does look top 5 Leicestershire player, perhaps.
And in comes Bushnell and Scriven drives this one to mid-on. A little bit of intent. Not quite the timing he was looking for. Goes to Fernando for no run.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they bat him next season. Vian Mulder obviously will come back. Hanscom will come back. He will probably bat at 4. Hanscom at 4, Mulder 5, Cox 6, possibly something like that.
Gives you good balance, doesn't it, when you can class your wicketkeeper as an all-rounder. As Bushnell comes in and this one's tucked away and he might get 4. In fact, he will get 4, Scriven. This one a little bit straighter than Bushnell will have wanted. Scriven gets it down to fine leg with Parkinson very wide. More of a backward square leg, you would say, than a traditional fine leg.
The wicketkeeper and the slips were all sort of giving him...
Egging him on, weren't they?
Yeah. He can get there. He was a good 40 yards away.
Yeah, he's had some chasing, hasn't he, over this week? And he hasn't got the ball yet, bless him. You're thinking, what have I come up here for? But I'm sure you'll enjoy the festivities this afternoon and into this evening and maybe further on. I believe there's a little bit of in-house celebration tonight as Bushnell comes in, and this one's a little bit wide and Scriven mistimes a drive out to Potts in the covers. And a little fines day to follow tomorrow, which I don't believe he's going to.
I mean, he's played 7 games. There was 8 games for Durham in the cap, so he'll certainly be entitled to his medal.
Absolutely, he's played his part. He's taken crucial wickets and a couple of decent hauls. I mean, Durham have had an excellent seam bowling attack, but he's certainly complemented that. As Bushnell comes in and bowls this one short, and Scriven gets up on his toes and tucks it nicely into the leg side for a single. Moves scoring to 79 for 6, and Scriven moves on to 12.
What's Fines Day? Where they go for a meal on all the fines?
Yeah, they'll have a really quiet. Probably go for an afternoon tea at Betty's tea rooms or something to that effect. Yeah,
scones, cucumber sandwiches,
absolutely.
Earl Grey tea.
Is that the one on the York Ring Road?
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fun. And maybe an education for a few of the younger players. As Bushnell comes in, right arm over, Cox on strike, and this is driven fluently through cover point. Travascus in pursuit, and he gives up as that trickles into the Toblerones and runs away for 4.
Leicestershire did this. They went to Leicester City's football ground, didn't they, with a one-day cup?
Yes, and they're going to the Tigers on...
All right.
Nice.
They are playing tomorrow or Sunday, and they're going to display it there as well.
Wondering if Durham will be at Sunderland or indeed Newcastle in the near
They have
future.
been before, haven't they,
Yeah.
with various pieces of silverware? Bushnell comes in, and this is punched off the back foot, and Cox is disappointed that he hasn't put that into a gap, and that ends the over. 83 for 6, Cox on 13, Scriven on 12. Yeah, very much split, isn't it? Newcastle, Sunderland, and the odd Borough fan.
Yeah, quite a few Borough fans.
And they've definitely travelled around the northeast with various pieces of silverware over the years. I think Ollie leading them out at Sunderland and Harmy at St James's Park on occasions.
That rings a bell. And Graham emailed, he said, I've managed to escape loft converting for a snatch of last day glory. Just a note to say a big thank you to you and your comrades for keeping me semi-sane over the last half of this brilliant season. Shan't be listening because I forgot my headphones. Thanks very much, though, he says. P.S. Half Man, Half Biscuit are playing Newcastle in February. Yeah, they are, aren't they? I think they're at the Boiler Shop.
Fernando is into Scriven, who is driving back quite a long way from the body, but got plenty of it. In fact, may well pick up. Oh, great work. On the slide, bounced off his knees, and Bushnell giving it everything. A huge chase for him. Pursued to the very last moment.
They ran for.
Yeah, they got there for anyway, but nonetheless, impressive commitment from the young man.
Great piece of fielding, really.
He's a brilliant fielder. Brilliant fielder, but yeah, the kind of one you get up and you hurl it, and then you go, well, they've run 4, I may as well have just let that go.
And stop me. White's getting muddy.
Well, they can just go in the bin, can't they, after today?
Parkinson's going to get there, you know. He's been warming up for a couple of deliveries, not particularly enthusiastically, it's got to be said, but he's warming up.
Great leg spin weather.
Indeed. Fernando is in short. And Scriven manages to somehow cover it around the corner down towards long leg. It absolutely surprised him there. And he was sort of ducking away from it as he almost involuntarily sort of hooked at it slightly and a bit top edgy, but just about managed to keep it under some sort of control. Not entirely convincing.
Michael Ventris has sent an email entitled Pansies, and I thought, what this is going to be about? He said, hi, Marty, I hope you're right about the early finish. I have 140 winter pansy plants to put in my garden boxes.
Oh, dear. Sounds like fun.
And into Ben Cox, who restores calm to proceedings by just going forward carefully on off stump and blocking it out into the offside. Cox has 13 off 11, Scriven 17 off 15.
Oh, this is Andrew, I didn't know Arbuthnot was actually a town. There's a character who appears in all of the pantomimes at the Customs House Theatre in South Shields called Arbuthnot. But there is a town in Aberdeenshire called Arbuthnot because Andrew Jones lives there. And he has emailed.
There you go.
Fernando in bowls on off stump, pushed out into the offside by Cox, calls for the one, and it would have been interesting. And Bushnell moving across to his right from point in front of cover, managed to pick it up first time. He would certainly have been hurling it at the non-striker's end. Unfortunately, for the young man, he wasn't able so to do.
He says, thanks so much for your commentary and that of your BBC colleagues over the course of the season. It's been a great pleasure to travel down to Chesley Street for several games this summer. Durham, without doubt, the most exciting side to watch in either division of the county championship.
Short and pulled, didn't really get up, but Scriven obviously saw it early from Fernando. He's pulled it out towards deep mid wicket. Running around down there is Clark, and he gets his throwaway. Scriven takes 2.
He says, let's hope they continue to play with such fluency next year.
Yeah, I think they will. They'll live and die by their style of play. I'm sure it won't work every week. I'm sure they'll pick up some wins along the way. It was almost like Scriven was expecting that one, wasn't it? He was sat on the back foot waiting.
You're not going to surprise me again.
No, the way the field's set at the moment with 2 square legs, one either side of the umpire, and a deep square leg, you might expect another one here, or is he bluffing?
Fernando is in. He was bluffing. It was probably just short of a good length, just on off stump, and punched away. Nice timing again by Scriven out towards deep extra cover. This time Bushnell's chase is very much justified because he keeps it to 2.
Time for some spin, I think. Richard, as you said there, Parkinson has been warming up. The helmet is coming out for Robinson. It looks like it's Parkinson time, who's waited very patiently after running around the field like a lunatic the other day, where every ball seemed to be heading in his direction. And he's going to get the chance to spin Durham to victory here from the Lumley end. Right on cue, our PA. He gets a nice round of applause as well, because I'm sure the Durham crowd will appreciate his efforts.
It's nice, lad. He's got a bubbly, happy-go-lucky type character.
He's been well received, I know that, in the Durham change room.
He was chasing them with a huge water gun at Worcester last week. Big water blaster soaker thing. 93 for 6 then. Time is it? 11 minutes to lunch.
It looks like we're going to have lunch, doesn't it?
Apparently lunch has been changed today. So...
Lobster?
Yeah. Lobster thermidor. Caviar, that was it. Yeah.
Champions lunch.
Yeah. Here we come then. Bit of leg spin from Parkinson from the Lumley end. And the first ball is floated in to Cox, who leans a long way outside the line of off stump to play that off towards the covers.
That's why I bought my garlic kofta in this morning. I was unfortunately unable to get here for the start, so I've probably missed the lunch order, no doubt.
It's his 8th game for Durham. He's taken 20 wickets in that time, including getting his brother out at Grace Road. Oh, he's got another one. And Tom Scriven wasn't even in the same scene there, I don't think. And he's punching his bat as he walks off. He's been stumped. And he just went so far out of his crease, totally missed the ball. He's gone for 21.
Well done, Parkinson. Bit of flight, and it's not easy to bowl leg spin on a cool afternoon here at the Riverside, and that just might revisit the lunch being taken if they can pick up another wicket in the 10 minutes or so to the scheduled break. We might just get that extra half an hour, or the umpires might just feel it fit to go let Durham have a crack and try and finish this off. But I think reckless is probably the word you would use there. That was the first ball he faced from Parkinson, and Scriven, in an aggressive frame of mind, has run down the pitch and managed to hit fresh air, and Robinson tidies up behind the stumps and does the necessary.
Ben Cox didn't look impressed.
And maybe that's where Cox can come in. He's got the experience, hasn't he, where he's been around for a long time, and maybe, I'm not saying that there's no fight in the Leicestershire side especially after their one-day final win, but maybe just, pick your moments here. A lot of personal pride still to play for, and that didn't look good.
It didn't. Especially as he'd managed to get a few away.
He was timing it nicely.
Beginning, to sort of look, well, not in control, but at least established at the crease, as to the crease for the last time for Leicestershire. Well, no, not for the last time for Leicestershire. Now it's been announced that he's no longer moving to Sussex, although the club yet to confirm whether he will be staying at Leicestershire.
Oh, really? When's that happened?
That was yesterday.
So I missed that.
It was announced that Sussex announced that, quote, for family reasons, unquote, Chris Wright would no longer be joining them. We sort of leapt to the assumption that therefore he'd be staying at Leicestershire, and initially Leicestershire were looking to make an early statement, but it was decided last night Chris wouldn't be made available, and we understand that at the moment he hasn't actually signed a new contract with the Foxes. He won't be short of suitors, I wouldn't think.
Well, he's been a good operator for a long time, no matter where he's been. He's been a valuable asset and still bowled beautifully in the first innings here. He's got some work to do with the bat.
Parkinson bowls to right. Lots of airtime for that one. It dips, and the batsman plays it safely back up the other end in the sunshine. So what's the deficit now? 220.
Yeah, I don't think you need worry too much about that, I'm afraid.
Bowler comes in, Lumley end, and right as forward to that one.
Dead bat. Trickled right next to his shoe, that one. Borthwick now doing some loosening up.
He fancies an over before lunch.
2 balls to go of the over. Here's the first of them. Oh, hold him.
Wrong un.
Smooth.
So we're now going to be an extra half hour here, aren't we? Got him with a wrong un. So that's right, gone for a third ball.
Wow. That's gorgeous bowling from Parkinson, up above the eye line, out of the back of the hand and turning through the gate. And you would say there's no better sight for a fast bowler, but as a spin bowler, you're probably pretty happy to see the stump out of the ground as well. And right goes, bowled by Parkinson for no score. And Parkinson has 2 wickets in his first over.
Yeah.
There's not really much to add to that.
No, it was a lovely delivery, but yeah, it's been not great from Leicestershire this morning, or indeed in the game as a whole.
Yeah.
That will be the extra half hour now, won't it?
I would have thought so. I think they would have considered it with them being 7 down. No disrespect to Wright. With him being at the crease at number 9, they might have thought actually Durham could win this into the extra half hour, and I'm sure that will definitely be enforced now.
Foxy Phil, have Durham signed the wrong Parkinson? He asks.
Well,
Gentlemen.
hopefully not. I mean, Matt's done brilliantly. And there's been, I mean, spin has really worked. We've had Kuhneman. And there was talk of Todd Murphy as well at the start of the year. Well, not talk. He was signed as the main spin bowler. And then Kuhneman came in and did a job, and then he got a stress fracture.
And he played the 3 games, didn't he?
Yeah, and bowled us to victory here, didn't he? Late on in a really exciting game. Can't remember who that was against. That'll test your memory, Mark.
For early games were Worcestershire at home, Derbyshire at home.
Might have been Worcester.
Next ball is bowled to Davis, and that is the end of the over. So 1 run from it, but 2 wickets as well.
Just turn around to Borthwick, can't you? You should have brought me on earlier, mate. But no, excellent start. And Borthwick said, well, if you can do it, I'm going to have a crack as well. And we're going to see leg spin from both ends now. As Captain Borthwick grabs the ball, and we'll have a crack from the Lumley end. As he marks his run up in baby steps.
22 wickets for Parkinson in the championship for Durham. Everybody's made a huge, big contribution, haven't they? Kuhneman took 12 in his 3 games.
It tends to happen, doesn't it, when you're on a roll? You have contributions coming, and you talk about the batting probably mainly, and there was runs coming through. I don't even know what that was from Borthwick.
Chaplin-esque, wasn't it? Outside off stump, and that wasn't quite Parkinson-like in terms of the delivery and direction. A little bit short outside off stump, and Fox, whom, yeah, I wonder what he's thinking at the moment. Punched it away down towards deepish extra cover and jogged a couple. Yet to be dismissed. He's got 47 runs without getting out so far in this game. He at least has acquitted himself honourably. In goes Borthwick. That's better. Line and length on off stump. No great turn for him. Back foot waiting for it is Cox, pushing it out into the offside. Bushnell fields at shortish extra cover. Borthwick is in, better, gives it some air forward, getting to the pitch of it goes Cox, pushing it again out to Bushnell.
Are they down on overs here? Is this like...
Leonard says a level.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
In goes Borthwick, who just fancies a bowl, I think, really. Slightly short and a suggestion of turn, but played off the pitch by Cox, wide of Bushnell, out to Parkinson. On the boundary up there, or 10 yards, 15 yards in from the ropes, and takes 1.
It's probably just his general enthusiasm, but it looks like he's really trying to rush through the over. I wasn't having a go at him for bowling, but just his body language, I suppose he's always 100 miles an hour, Scott.
He is in, tosses it up to Davis, who's waiting for it, gets a bit of a thick inside edge as he defends it. It runs into the vacant backward square area. Ben Rain comes running into field. Davis is off the mark.
England test cap as a leg spinner.
Yes.
The Ashes in Sydney.
Yeah. He brings another England leg spinner, Matty Parkinson. England test cap at, where was it? Did he play at
Sydney, wasn't it?
Oh, no.
Parky, no,
Lords.
Parky played at Lords.
At
Was it in Leeds?
No, I think it was. I think it was at Lords. In he goes Borthwick, and it's defended by Cox down into the ground. End of the over.
Wherever Leach injured himself. Lords?
I'm pretty sure it was Lords.
Yeah.
We got
98
Costa,
left.
Yeah.
2 minutes
fielding.
till lunch,
Mm.
if we have it.
Richard Murray says, will you be covering the presentation? Yeah, I'll sit here until they've received their medals and whatnot. And he says, good, I can't be there today. Alistair Smith says, good that I'm missing the last day. Thanks for all the entertainment this year. See you in 2024 and Merry Christmas.
Got the first one in. It feels a bit Christmassy out there. The weather is the clouds have got blue sky to one side. We've got some grey clouds to the other, but the sun is hidden and she's grey out there as Parkinson comes in, right arm over the wicket. And this one's tucked away nicely by Davis. And he'll pick up at least 2. And it will be 2 as Bushnell does the fielding. Gets him and Leicestershire to 100 runs. And he moves on to 3. Cox on 18.
They might break that hoodoo again and get past 101.
100 for 8. Parkinson approaches us. And he bowls that one. And this has beaten the outside edge and through to Robinson. Beautiful piece of bowling.
David Griffin, the Derbyshire statistician.
Mm.
Lewis Rees is the first player to score 400s for one county against another county in the same season.
Wow.
Derbyshire against Glamorgan.
Parkinson comes in again, and this one beats the outside edge of a flashing blade of Davis. Robinson casually takes that one, as the wind seems to have picked up as well. Parkinson in again. Oh, and again, strike 3. As Robinson collects that one, of another play and miss there from Davis, and Borthwick's seen enough there. He's got Potts at slip, betting him at leg slip, and he's going to come in to a second slip / gully position for the leg spinner as they crouch down and wait. And Parkinson bowls that one. That's hit the back leg of the batsman, and it must have pitched outside leg stump. And it has. Pitched outside leg stump and high. So apologies from us, but the batsman has his back to us. So it's quite difficult for us to see what's going on, especially with all the fielders and the keeper around the bat. This one's defended off the back foot by Davis, and that ends the over. 100 for 8, Leicestershire. And they're going to go off for lunch, which I'm really surprised at. Maybe the Durham boys fancy a feed before, but I am really surprised that they haven't taken the extra half an hour. 100 for 8, Cox on 18, Davis on 3. And what a great session for Durham.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. I thought they would have gone for the extra half hour, but they are not. So there you are. We'll leave it there. Just before we go, I was going to raise this with you. As a player, you've come to the end of the season. It's job done. You know, you've got the title in the bag and all the rest of it. But
yeah,
today's the last day. They'll have a few days of celebration. And then how much of a sort of release is it when you've walked out the dressing room for the last time, the kit's gone to wherever it's going, and you don't have to worry about thinking about training for a few months. And
that's an interesting one. So a few of the lads, I would assume, would head off on holidays with family. Some of them will disappear overseas and play various cricket around the world. Obviously, people like Potts and Carson, that will be in training, just waiting for that call-up in case somebody gets injured, or there could be Lions tours and things like that as well. So depending on where you are in the structure, some of the younger lads are going to Sri Lanka, I believe, for the Under-19 World Cup, and they'll have camps before that. So there's all sorts going on over the winter period. Most of them will have a few weeks off and then get straight back into it in rehab programs and gyms and things like that. So that it doesn't really stop, but they'll have a break and they'll reflect on what's been an amazing season from a Durham point of view, from the Leicestershire point of view. They'll take stock, reflect on what's been an unbelievable white ball campaign with them picking up the one-day trophy there, but they've got lots of work to do with the red ball.
Okay, well, that's lunch then. We'll go and grab something to eat and see you in 40 minutes' time. Well, welcome back to Chesty Street for what I would imagine will be the final time this season. I would be mildly surprised if it isn't. And Durham 2 wickets away from sealing their 8th victory of the season, which would give them 233 points. So would be their 3rd best season in points terms. 2 wickets to take. In there at the minute, Ben Cox on 18 and Will Davis on 3. Cox made 30 not out in the first innings, the highest score for Leicestershire. Davis was out for 16. Josh Hall will be the last man. He got a duck.
Well, Durham not inclined to show any mercy. The Scott Borthwick experiment, if that's the right word, is over. Just the one over for the skipper. And they're going to go back to Matty Potts of Durham and England to finish things off, or try and finish things off anyway.
I had a chat with the scorers at lunchtime, and my hunch was right. They are slightly behind on the over rate. Not that it particularly matters.
I was going to say, to lose a point is, well, at this stage.
I guess that's greedy. I like it.
Steve Ransom emailed to say they couldn't go off unless it was 9 down, but when I asked, they could have gone off with the
That's not right, yeah.
Potts then is in from the Winkle end. Forward goes Ben Cox and takes it out just slightly wide of Ben Rain at mid-on and therefore takes 1. He moves on to 19.
So, yeah, William Dobson, I asked the same question for my own sanity, and he said if the fielding captain feels there's a chance that they can get a result within the half an hour, that they can take it. However, if it's 9 down, it's mandatory that they take it, the extra half an hour.
So it could have been taken, chosen not to. An awful lot of people were having lunch, essentially.
They've made the club a bit of money. Yeah, they have. It's sold out in the members.
Room.
Yeah.
There you go, then. If you were wondering...
Good commercial decision.
If you were wondering... now you know. Potts in to Will Davis. Davis managed to connect with a few in the first innings. He is turning that one neatly off his legs, actually, down towards long leg and taking a single perfectly correctly.
Remember being in the Vendée in France in 2005, and we went into this restaurant one lunchtime, quite late, autumn, and I asked for some snails, and I thought he was going to bring me 6 out on a train. He brought me a bowl of about 40.
Oh, no.
And I started having a go at these snails, and after a while I was just totally overwhelmed, and I said, by any chance is this the final day that you're open this year? And he said, how do you know? I said, because that's the entire contents of your freezer.
Potts is in. Forward goes Cox, nice and correctly, pushing the ball out towards extra cover. Matty Parkinson runs across some fields, no run.
And he said, yes, you're right, it is. And he said, normally somebody wouldn't be given as many snails as I did my best. I think I got through about 35 of them, but
better man than me.
yeah. As garlicly as your, was it kofta? That's
Kofta. Yeah, wonderful garage pickup on the way into the ground.
Potts is in and bowls slightly short and pulled by Cox quite stylishly, but didn't quite get all of it and pulls it out along the ground towards Rain at mid-on.
Will you be joining in any of the celebrations, Ash?
Oh, I might join them later on. See what happens.
Paul Chubb's email. Hi, Marty. I've been working this morning, now watching on YouTube with the commentary. What a performance by the Durham bowlers this morning. I echo those thanking you and all of the BBC cricket commentators for this season coverage. Simply splendid, he says.
Potts turns, runs in and bowls, and Cox is stylishly playing and missing at that one, just stepping out, side his off stump and rather wafting at it.
And there's a reason why he can't get here. So he and Alison were here on the first day. Alison's emailed as well. She said, we would love to have seen the presentation, but we won't have the time to cover the 50 miles each way and get back for Paul to lead a Harvest Festival service at one of our 7 churches this evening.
Potts bowls straight on off stump. Cox presents a perfectly straight bat, nice high left elbow as he stretches forward and blocks it out into the offside end of the over. 102 for 8 more to Leicestershire need to avoid their lows. Is it, what did you say?
They're done.
Yeah, they've gone past it.
Flying.
Well, that's the end.
Absolutely.
That's my stat done for the day.
Tick.
Alan says we're enjoying the commentary and the wonderful streaming. It only remains for me to add our thanks to you and your colleagues for the superb coverage.
These all need sending to the BBC.
Yeah.
See leg spin continue. Parkinson picking up those 2 wickets in his first over. He's going to take up the first charge from the Lumley end after lunch. Will Davis has a bit of company with Potts at slip, Bellingham at leg slip.
Oh, it's a leave. This is waiting to see which way that was going to spin there. Davis left it. And
That was an aggressive leave. There was a lot of, no, don't play at that.
Yeah, Bellingham at leg slip. Potts at first slip. Keeper standing up. Parkinson bowls. And Davis onto the back foot. Keeps that out. Derek says, thank you once again. Remember, you can join me for a lap from 10 a.m. on the 21st of December when I walk 24 hours around Druridge Bay for the Trussell Trust food banks. This is driven back to the bowler, and actually you can get a hand on it. He's got his finger ends on it, and that's stinging. A run there to Davis. He moves on to 5. So Derek Allen doing a sponsored walk on the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice around Druridge Bay for the Trussell Trust.
There's lots of charity walks, doesn't he, Derek?
Yeah.
Hope you're listening, mate. Hope you're well.
Cox on 19, 103 for 8. And that's a sweep, and it's up in the air, top edge, but it lands about 15 yards short of Alex Lee's a backward square leg. 1 run. If Leicestershire offer a bit of resistance this afternoon, they'll be going home right in the middle of the Friday rush hour.
That's what we'll say to the
think about
scorers.
that as well. Parkinson bowls, driven off the back foot by Davis, no run. Covered out in that he covers by, I think that's Borthwick in there.
It sure is.
Last ball of the over, it's the 34th. Davis looks to cut hard at that one. He's got a bottom edge. It's gone through Potter's legs, first slip. Drifts down towards third man. Jones picks it up. 2 runs. That is the end of the over. Another milestone for Leicestershire in the beckoning, Richard. They nearly got the deficit down below 200.
Don't rub it in.
Well, you've got to go in at the incremental measurement, don't you?
No.
Working tens.
On here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Forlorn, I believe the word is.
A little bit of defiance would be nice post lunch. But, say Cox has acquitted himself well with the bat and the gloves in this game. He looks a really decent signing. He's just composing himself, checking his guard. Umpire Bailey. Potts is ready to go. Cox ready to receive. In he goes and bowls. Cox is forward, turning the bat face on that one to the vacant leg side, runs the ball to mid-wicket area. Alex Lees sort of walks in and underarms the ball to Ben Rain. Cox takes his single, moves on to 21.07 for 8.
The wind's got up, hasn't it? I'm just suddenly noticing it seems a lot more windy than it was before lunch. It's changed direction now. It's more coming around onto the front of us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cox in bright sunshine now is in bowls to Davis, who slams him back over mid on. Didn't quite get all of it. Ben Rain turns, runs, picks it up, and what's Rainey doing? He's trying to tempt Leicestershire into a second. It wasn't there. He picked it up, then threw it back where he'd got it from, and said, "Go on, go for a second." But no, said Ben Cox, a little bit too old a hand to fall for that sort of trick.
It's the perfect club to get over Ben Rain's head, wasn't it?
Just yet. Davis on to 8. Potts is into Cox, who's forward, playing exactly the same shot as he did 2 balls ago, just turning the bat face on the straight delivery and pushing it out towards mid-wicket, where Lees picks up an underarms to Rain again.
Connor's been on Twitter. He said, enjoying the commentary, watching the stream. We were there yesterday in hospitality. You probably heard us.
Was it Grimesy?
Yeah, would have been there today, but we're off to Sheffield to watch the Red and White Army.
Oh, he loves his football, Connor, and his cricket.
It's on Radio Newcastle tonight, Sheffield Wednesday against Sunderland.
Watts is in. Will Davis go big again? No, he won't. He'll check that instinct and play it firmly out to Fernando, who bounces around, having picked up the ball, most sort of balls, and
Nice.
at rain. Yeah, there is something of that about him, isn't he? He looks quite sort of frail almost, but he's a lovely smooth run up to the crease.
Yeah, the Appleton lads Appleton CC had a hospitality box yesterday, I think.
Watts in again to Davis, who is trying to smack him over mid-on. Again, he doesn't quite get all of it. Rain, who'd retreated slightly, slips as he runs around and picks that one up in front of Parkinson.
There's no pace in the outfield, is there, today?
It's very soft.
I think, yeah, the recent weather has taken the heat out of it. If it's hit in the air, then the absorption from the outfield is a lot.
Oh, that's a good word.
Thank you.
It plugs almost.
It does. If you hit it along the floor, I think you've got a lot better chance to reach the rope. I think we saw one, didn't we, the other day, that got hit the best part of 80 yards and just hit and stuck.
Watts is into Davis, who again is pulling out towards mid-wicket. It does roll all the way to Parkinson, just a yard or two inside the ropes in front of the electronic scoreboard down there. Potts doesn't look like, understandably, because he is such a competitor. Everybody else might be smiling, but he doesn't. He doesn't want to see the number 10 whacking him around. Thank you very much indeed.
Davis must have looked at the Highways Agency map. Thought they better get a move on.
Cox having a bit of a thigh pad malfunction here. He's having to drop his strides in the middle of the pitch. Thankfully, plenty of undergarments on. Save his modesty. I think he's took it off altogether.
Looks like a few extra people coming in since lunch.
It's a healthy crowd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come to see the trophy. To say I wasn't over impressed by the one-day trophy in and of itself. Just something, just a sort of bowl. It's quite a small one as well. It lacks grandeur.
The one that used to win when it was the Friends Provident was quite spectacular. Here's Parkinson from the Lumley end. That's gone down the leg side, taken by the keeper. Davis just watches it on its way.
It just sort of felt like that sort of whole ECB attitude towards that particular competition was just a little
devalued,
bit second rate.
Parkinson forward. Davis pushes this to point. No run there. Well, you couldn't beat the fever of a cup final day on a Thursday afternoon in Nottingham, could you? When we were there 2 years ago.
It was a bizarre one, wasn't it?
Not many in the ground that day. Parkinson bowls. Forward comes Davis and snuffs it out on a length.
A shame because at least ours was a Saturday and really good crowd, decent crowd in. Or it wasn't full. It was about 11,000, but it was sort of slightly old-fashioned as well. Lots of chanting and things like that.
Parkinson bowls again. It's wide of off stump and it's thumped away by Davis through the covers for 4. The last final Durham played in at Lords against Warwickshire in 2014 was only about a third full, wasn't it? It was eerie. There was this mist.
Never got light
in the morning. Never got light. Floodlights on all day. Spartan crowd. I think from winning the semi-final to getting to the final was only about a fortnight or something like that. And London Fashion Week was on as well.
Yeah, I was torn between the two.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't imagine that interested the MCC crowd too much. But
well, you did come back to the ground with a nice pair of bell bottoms, didn't you? I told you they wouldn't come into fashion. You mark my words.
Yeah, still hanging on.
Yeah. 116 for 8 now. Deficit's come down below 200 with that 4. Parkinson to Davis. Davis on the back foot, whips it away up towards long under rain for 1 run. That is the end of the over. So 117 for 8. Cox has 22. He's on. Davis is on strike because he's got the other end. He has 16. Andrew says, a great end to the season for Durham. Thank you for your commentary and for the commentary of all of your colleagues around the country. I wish I could have been there today, but the 5-hour round trip made that impossible. And Scott Wilson has listed lots and lots of BBC commentators, and then adds, and any others I've missed. Thank you for the commentary all season. It's much appreciated. It is much appreciated from our point of view as well, because without you, then it wouldn't happen.
That was a bizarre day, that cup final, and so thank you for all those very kind comments.
Potts is in to Davis, who is pulling again out to mid-wicket and taking one. Graham Clark's out there. Has been Parkinson. It is Clark now. Parkinson, because he's bowling, has gone into sort of conventional mid-wicket.
Talking of Trent Bridge, an email has just arrived in front of me. The pavilion end at Trent Bridge is to be christened the Stuart Broad end, in recognition of the Nottinghamshire and England legend.
And Leicestershire.
Yeah,
where he started.
where he began.
Hey.
And pub owner. I wonder if the pub's been rebuilt yet.
Did that one get burnt down?
Yeah, no,
he owned it with Harry Gurney, didn't he?
It does still, and it has.
Yeah.
It is functioning just as well as before. In goes Potts and bowls outside off stump. Cox just leans back.
I bumped into Harry here on the stairs during a game. Was it last year? And he said they thought the fire had been linked to a tumble dryer or some electrical equipment in the kitchen, but it was a beautiful old thatched pub, and it burnt down. So,
have we had any more news about your wonky pub? What was it called? That?
Oh no.
Potts runs in and bowls on off stump. Cox just works it into the offside. Fernando's quite deep at mid-off, so a comfortable single to be taken by Cox. He's more than happy so to do. Moves on to 23.
What was it called?
Is it the Cricket House?
The Cricket House, yeah. I can't remember if there were any arrests, because you mentioned it in commentary when we were at South North, and a couple of games away from home, and then I was away in France, so I don't know what they...
I think they've been ordered to rebuild it, haven't they?
Have they?
Crooked.
Yeah.
Potts in. Davis looking to drive, doesn't get it, hits it hard down into the ground, and it loops apologetically back down the pitch towards Matty Potts. It looked lovely, went down on one knee very stylishly, but didn't get it at all.
Try to overhit. That's where you hear the coach shout, "Keep your shape." He's tried to absolutely smash that one through the covers. Managed to lob it out into the offside.
He's got a good eye, Will Davis, and he's never scored a first-class half-century, but not saying he's going to do so here. In goes Potts and bowls. Davis tries to pull, misses. It's a little bit wide outside off stump, and he might have been better playing the ramp that he rehearses, or trying to play it anyway.
It was a good height, wasn't it, there? I think some of the short balls so far have been a little bit chest high rather than that head high, and that was a little bit more out of control for Davis, who had a big swing at that one as well. But I like his intent.
When Durham played their opening game here against Worcestershire in the one-day cup, that was when that pub was first mentioned, wasn't it? Because
I think so.
Potts is into Davis, who is trying to ramp there, and very nearly ramps it straight into the gloves of Ollie Robinson, because it was a straight-ish bouncer coming back at him. He leant back, tried to help it over the wicket-keeper's head, didn't get anything on it. Could easily just have, as I say, flicked it into the gloves of Robinson. End of Potts' over. His 13th of the innings, 2 for 28. His figures, Leicestershire 11948.
yeah, Frank Watson, who's the Hereford and Worcester commentator, mentioned he played cricket at Old Hill, and I said, "Oh, there's a very unusual pub there called the Cricket House," and we had a chat about it. And then that night it burned down, I think, didn't it? Investigations carried out, and now they've been told to rebuild it.
Arson, wasn't it?
Well,
that wasn't the one that the developer...
Did he just knock it down?
Yeah,
or just burn it? Yeah, he just knocked it down, didn't he, without permission?
Yeah.
There was a fire, then it was knocked down the next day.
Right.
Yeah. 119 for 8. No.
I feel the fire wasn't suspicious at all.
Well, we don't know, and I'm sure lawyers are involved. And
I can imagine so.
Yeah.
Parkinson starts a new over, and Cox goes forward to this one. It's gone to Gully, picked up by
Jones is very close, isn't he? Backward point.
Yeah, he was in close, because by the time he got the ball, he was at Gully, wasn't he? There,
pretty much.
Parkinson again. Bright sunshine here in Chesley Street. Cox pushes that out towards the covers to Borthwick for 1 run.
He's 200 now. 26. 9 wicket.
I missed the very start of play, but Cox has looked the most controlled of the Leicestershire batsmen so far.
Parkinson to Davis. Davis cuts hard. Good diving stop on the covers by Clark. They'll get 1 run though, just bounces off him. Have you got a half one,
No.
Richard? No.
No half. They do something strange that doesn't require my presence.
Involves force fields and windmills. 121 for 8. Cox sweeps towards deep square leg to Bushnell for 1. Bright sunshine here at the moment. Might put the sunglasses on in a minute. Complete contrast to yesterday. It was so murky yesterday. Felt like never got daylight yesterday.
Getting a bit carried away there, mate. It's nice, but it's not glary. Pleasant this time of year.
Parkinson in. Davis turns this to short square leg, no run.
Parkinson trying to tempt Davis here. As Richard said, a little partnership building between these two. Bring a little bit of respectability onto the scoreboard. 122 for 8. And Borthwick just having a little chat with Parkinson. Coming up with a plan for the last ball of the over. In fact, probably, they're going to push Bushnell back and say if he gets a single, it's not the end of the world, and he's going to try round the wicket.
Davis looks at the man he's got to try and avoid out in the deep. And Beddingham's dropped from short leg to leg gully. Where's he going?
45, I think.
Yeah.
With the lid still on.
So Parkinson right arm round from the Lumley end. Davis just taps it short on the leg side and goes for a quick single and keeps strike. So he moves on to 19. 123 for 8. Deficit's 191. Durham now get these 2 wickets quickly. It's job done. 8 wins for the season. And they can start thinking about Division 1 next year. Before a ball had even been bowled in anger this year, I did an interview with Ollie Robinson, and he said he felt Durham had a squad back in the spring of this year which could more than compete in Division 1 next year.
Confidence. Justified by the performances this season. Potts is in to Davis, who's looking to turn one away down the leg side. Doesn't get anything on it. Taken by Robinson. Fernando doing those impressive stretching exercises. Zakimbo, now he's stretching his back.
The old yoga.
Yeah, as the child's pose. One side and the other. Do a few of those morning and evening. Always worth it. In goes Potts. Bowls. Davis is looking to drive, gets a thick inside edge onto it, and it limps away. Did he play that down into his foot? It went a long way if he did. The way he's limping, maybe hit his foot with his bat, having squirted it out rather to a rain at mid-on.
Interesting. Potts is just sending first slip back into a bit of a fly slip position there after Davis has tried to... Well, he's got the ramp in his mind, hasn't he? The last 2 short balls. The first one he tried to pull, the second one he tried to ramp. So
Jones has retreated as Potts is in, bowls to him. He drives, bullish delivery. Outside off stump, only as far as Fernando. Go on, Potter. Is the encouraging cry.
Yeah, just a bit of a lull, isn't there, waiting for the final 2 wickets to fall. The last push of the season.
I think TV's scheduled at 3:30, so maybe that's got something to do with it. Potts is in. Bowls pulled by Davis. Bounces short, not far short, of Parkinson at mid-wicket. Parkinson smiles at rain as he throws in the ball at mid-on.
He's interested for a moment there, wasn't he, Parkinson? And just had a little back pedal as it. One of those awkward ones that bounces just a couple of feet in front of you.
flung himself forward and collected it in his teeth.
Yeah, I was going to say, straight to the dentist.
19 Davis as Potts in bowls. Again, he's pulled and he's going to drop short of Parkinson. This time he didn't get it at all. Lots of hands on heads out there, and it sort of looped towards Parkinson. Looked like it was going to be a fairly straightforward catch and ended up dropping a little bit short. Parkinson, well, he was sort of on the move towards it, back and forwards in one of those.
The teaser.
Yeah. One of those. Davis is doing his best for him.
He's having a go, isn't he? To be fair.
He is.
Hitting them all right. 19 not out so far.
He got a few in the first dig as well.
Parkinson creeps a little bit closer into probably a more catching mid-wicket position.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably just going to clip this one over his head this time.
Potts is in. Davis on drives, and he's undriven for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Very straight and rain. I thought for a moment might be able to get across to his left, but no. He hit it a little bit too cleanly, so Potts will not like that. Davis moves on to 16 in the first innings. I beg your pardon, to 23. He was on 19 for once. The scoreboard wasn't as lightning fast as it usually is. On to 23, and well, maybe that first-class half-century isn't impossible after all in what at the moment seems likely to be his last innings for Leicestershire, and you have to say possibly his last first-class innings. Who knows? You know?
Yeah, it's a tough time of year. Hearing there's rumours of people being released, from various counties and contract times up. Having been there myself, it's an awful time of the year, but life definitely moves on.
Parkinson starts a new over, and an attempted sweep by Cox, who's down on one knee. He seems to be outside the line of off stump, was not given. Somerset and Warwickshire never got on in Birmingham today, so that's been abandoned as a draw. Middlesex are 224 for 6 declared in their second innings against Notts, so Notts need 207 to win. As Parkinson bowls again, that's wide of off stump, and it's played up to Borthwick, and the covers no run.
Do they need to win to stay up?
They do. They were 2 points behind Kent this morning.
Yeah.
So they need to win to stay up. And comes the bowler again. That is defended. It goes off towards the point area. In fact, I can't find Kent's score. Where have they gone? Oh, there they are. So Lancashire need 91 more runs to beat. Oh no, they don't, because they're just in their second innings. They lead by 90. So they lead by 91 runs. This is played off towards the covers. So no run there. So Lancashire are leading. They're 258 for 6. They lead by 91. So Kent need 4 more wickets to then have a run chase to win the game to stay up. Whereas Middlesex have set
the gamble.
Notts 207 to win. So it could be nervy there this afternoon. This one skids in low and is kept away by Cox, runs up 2 mid-off.
Right down to the wire last afternoon of the season. The relegation battle.
Like last year. This is an attempted drive down on one knee from Cox. He plays and misses at a ball outside the line of off stump.
The attempt at that from Parkinson, lobbing it up out wide, and Cox trying to belt that through the covers, has played and missed. Ends in a maiden. Parkinson 2 for 16 from 6.
So last match, last day last year, wasn't it? Where I think Warwickshire were only defending something like 123 against Hampshire, and Liam Norwell took 8 wickets.
Cleaned them up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ex-Marine Liam Norwell, that's what I was thinking of. He was in the Marines and looks like it. Potts
He does.
be in the Marines.
Yeah.
And he's going to continue from the Pinkle end here to temporarily shady Riverside. In he goes and bowls. Davis pulls and pulls
Right in
to
the
the
gap.
boundary. It's for 6, in fact. It's gone the whole way. That is the signal from the man at deep backward square. Graham Clark at mid-wicket, and he walked towards the covers. They're going to have to dig it. It may have gone actually underneath the temporary permanent castle stand over there.
And temporary permanent.
Yeah.
It is as well.
It's been here as long as I can remember, almost. Coming here. Clark's disinclined to get underneath. And can you get underneath? There seems to be some sort of
Stand from
wooden
the other way.
boarding.
Yeah.
So might have to have a spare ball. How many overs have been bowled with this one? 40.
About 40, isn't it?
Approximately 40 over old ball. So Will Davis has moved on to 29.
It's on the charge.
And his best is he got 40 odd against Yorkshire last time out.
The autumn weather has kicked in here because the clouds have come over and the wind seems to have really picked up.
Found it.
And they've got the ball.
You're all right.
Yeah, he's nicked off to find the spare box and smartly has moved from square leg to point. I'd be keeping out of the way of that as well.
Yeah, Potts won't be enjoying this being hit for 6 by the number 10.
Durham were batting at Derbyshire in July when the ball got hit underneath a little stand that we were sitting in. And Lewis Rees came along, said he couldn't reach it, and then they lost 2 quick wickets, so Baz Delaney came out with a pole and managed to retrieve the ball.
Potts in again to Davis, who's hooking in the air. Where's it going to
In the
go?
gap again.
In the gap between long leg and backward square for 4 more. Well, he's leading a charmed life, but it's a sort of brave charmed life, if that makes any sort of sense, Davis. And he moves on to 33. His best score in first-class cricket is 44 not out.
Good on him.
Was that in the last match?
That was against Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Actually, might just have a 47 somewhere. I'd have to look.
I think that is. I think I've
these
got down,
figures.
yeah, 44 against Yorkshire's his highest.
He might just have a few more than that somewhere. But he certainly hasn't got a first-class 50. That is for sure. Yep, it is that 44 not out. So he's on 33 not out as Potts is in to him again. He's pulling to mid-wicket and it bounces short. But of Borthwick, who takes it nicely, two-handed to his right, falling to his right. Potts, by his sort of normal, sort of aggressive standards, looks a little bit, just at the moment, not exactly going through the motions, but by his standards, just a little bit subdued, oddly.
I think he's thinking to himself, we would have got away with it if it hadn't been for these meddlesome kids. They'll be unmasking in a minute.
Borthwick claps his hands encouragingly at mid-wicket as Potts is in to Davis short, and he goes for the pull, and it bounces over the top of his rather ineffectual swipe.
A bit more grunt in that one from Potts.
Oh, what's the...
He's given a no ball for...
Is he saying no ball on height? It's a second... Was it had he given one previously?
I'm not sure it's a no
I don't
ball.
think he did he?
I think he's just telling me it's a second for the over.
Okay, that's 2. Yeah, 2 for the over.
It's definitely... And Potts wasn't happy with that. It was definitely...
No.
I was
over
just
shoulder.
wondering if they thought square-legged strayed round the back.
No.
Nah, he's definitely in front.
2 for the
yeah,
over.
2 for the over.
Potts is in, leg side, whipped away by Davis down towards deep backward square where Lees fields. Davis takes 1. Potts again looks back at the umpire. Whether there's some sort of dialogue or discussion going on. Certainly that wasn't anywhere near
Be a grumpy,
bouncer.
a grumpy quick right now.
Mm.
Getting a bit of treatment from the tail end. Mr. Potts won't like that.
Actually, there's not enough fielders for my theory to have worked there, is there?
No. It was complete gibberish.
It was.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, Clark was the one, isn't he? But he's well in front of square. But apart from that, if he was behind square,
See, he was behind my window frame when I was back. See, he was out there then.
yeah.
Potts is in to Cox. The field resembles normality now, and it's a straightforward-ish delivery. He stays on the back foot as he turns it down towards that man. Lee's on the sort of backward square position and content to leave it at that. 44 these two have added now for the 9th wicket, of which Davis has made 34.
He made a fence without looking clearly. I was looking over
I was
to
just
there.
teasing, mate.
No, but you see where it's got host and stay and there's a white fence behind, see?
Nah, can't see it.
In the corner of my eye, I just presumed there was another person down there.
Yeah.
And then when I eventually looked up, I thought, oh no, that's a fence. But don't take offence.
Potts is probably the one who really wanted to take Durham to victory here, so he'll want to stay on for as long as he can. I don't think Ben Rain cares. He just wants the 2 wickets to fall. But Fernando seems to be getting a little bit more active in the outfield. Maybe a spell from him shortly.
Parkinson then, from the Lovely end. That's put down into the ground by Davis, and it loops up high to Borthwick in the covers. No run there. He's a bit overcast at the moment. Very breezy. Parkinson once again, and I thought he bowled him there. Absolutely thrown the kitchen sink at that. The ball ricocheted away. I was just expecting to see the bails landing on the floor, but it must have come off the keeper's pad.
It was a bottom edge onto his foot and then trickled away.
Bottom edge, yeah.
Good intent, I like it.
Balls once again. Davis pushes this up to Rain. Head on.
Keep tossing it up, Parky. Let's see what happens. Because I think Davis is in the mood. It's you or me time.
Deficit is 176. Leicestershire 8 down following on. Parkinson bowls again. Gives that a bit of airtime. There's a little bit of drift on it. Snuffed out by the batsman.
The perfect forward defence there from Will Davison. Not impressed.
2 deliveries left. Sinan bowls again. Davis cuts at that. No run. Plays it to Borthwick in the covers.
And the wind's starting to pick up the old... there's a big banner sign over in the castle stand there, and it's starting to billow up in the wind.
Last ball of the over. Davis plays it into the cover area once again. Dot ball, that's a maiden. So he remains on 34. They were suggesting at the end of day one with Storm Magnus on its way, they were going to untie that banner and put it away for safekeeping for the winter because the Durham Uni banner got...
It was ripped to shreds.
The shreds, didn't it, in a recent windy... Was that last week? A couple of weeks ago?
I think it's been moved because it got ripped, and then it got moved and got ripped even further. But yeah, it was that windy earlier on in the season that the mobile covers ended up in the stand away to our right, about halfway up.
Yeah. Well, the Durham Uni badge was definitely in that stand the last home game.
Yeah, it was ripped to shreds.
It goes on and on. Oh, short. And this time it is Cox who's pulling out of it. The attempted pull, that is. He got in position, but it was a decent bouncer. Straight-ish, just outside off stump. And would have been too close. And Cox just dropped his hands as he completed the swivel movement.
Marty's magic cough return there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Still lingering, mate.
Kicks up his heels, accelerates to the crease, bowls outside off stump, nicely played off the back foot into the gap down there at a sort of backward point. Should take 2 and will. Long run around for probably Bushnell. It usually is out there.
You got it.
Cox on to 27. 57 runs in the game for him now, without as yet being dismissed. Cox turns in, bowls down the leg side, clipped on its way neatly by Davis, and shakes his head in annoyance at himself with that delivery as he turns away. Davis takes 1, moves on to 34. 10 away from a first-class best.
Cox has been really tidy, hasn't he, with the bat? Obviously, with the gloves as well. One take in particular down the leg side was outstanding.
Yeah, he did have he got leg side stumping, as I say, at Hove, which you don't see very often. Into Davis goes Potts, and he's pulled onto square leg, and he looks quite a bit. It looks a little bit resigned. Potts here licks a bit of dirt away, stomps back towards.
He'll be grumpy. He will be grumpy.
This is not the last action here this season. There's a food festival tomorrow, isn't there?
Indeed, Chesterley Eats.
Well, that'll be in the. Is that in the park somewhere?
It's just over in front of the main reception.
All right. Oh, in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In various street foods and bands on, and over the weekend.
Potts is into Cox, who is forward. Holds the pose as it comes off the thick inside part of the bat and runs out to Rain at middle.
Does it start tonight or is it in tomorrow?
I think it starts tomorrow.
It'd be nice if they were setting up tonight as we left.
It'd be a shame, wouldn't it?
Might be some.
Might get another kofta. Bit of extra garlic on this one.
Yeah.
How many coffers do you have a week?
I don't know. I've had one in the last 10 years, I think.
That Greek street food van turns up at the occasional cricket club round here, doesn't it?
Yeah, most of the clubs are doing well with that now, actually.
Potts is in, bowls outside off stump, and a leave from Ben Cox. Lets it go through. End of the over. 142 or 848. These two have now put on, and that is comfortably the highest partnership of the innings.
Possibly the match, is it, for Leicestershire? Let's have a look.
Quite possibly.
Yes, 39 for the 5th in the first innings. Yep, it is.
But yeah, a lot of especially the Premier League clubs in the northeast, they bring various food vendors on, whether it's Indian street food or you mentioned Greek and wood fire pizzas and all that kind of thing, and burger vans, and just to add something extra for the punters that come and watch the local club cricket, which is really good.
The Greek one, I think the first time we came across that, it was at Whitburn Cricket Club during lockdown. So you ordered your food online and then you were given a delivery slot to go and collect it. But I think it goes to Bolton these days as well. And
Yeah, it gets around. It's around.
Maybe the owner's a cricket fan.
Probably a fan of money, I would have thought.
Might have been a Greek international.
Maybe.
Fernando is replacing Parkinson from the Lumley end. So Durham going back to pace. Fernando 2 for 22 in 6 overs in this innings. Took 4 for 40 in the first innings. Left arm Sri Lankan international. And well, there's a bit of extra pace. And Davis was still playing at that shot when he was in the keeper's gloves there, I think.
It's a random appeal from Fernando and nobody else. Or maybe a polite inquiry rather than an appeal. But both hands are in the air. He was excited, but yeah, I think Davis had a thrusher that was a little bit late on it. But again, like the intent.
Paul Summerside says, afternoon chaps from a blustery Roca Riviera, reflecting on the season, Potts and rain making the ball sing. Lee's taking it to the opposition. Fernando in, Davis drives at that, it's gone along the floor, and I think it hit the instep of Michael Jones at first slip, no run.
It's glove from Robinson, I think.
Bottom edge, yeah.
And then our lower middle order batting the team ethic. Excellent commentary from Marty and his co-commentators, and thanks to all. And then it's got a heart sign. I think somebody said the other day Durham have had centuries from 1 to 8 this year.
Yeah, they have, yeah. Pass being the number 8, Bus being the number 7.
Fernando to Davis. That's gone straight to second slip. That's an interesting delivery.
Got that down to a fine art at the moment, that edge down into the slips, yeah. Jones taking that really well at first slip.
Bounced awkwardly just in front of his ankle, but he managed to stop it.
It's not what you need in April and September, them ones. Just, yeah.
I think he needs to oil the toe of the bat here.
I think more of Jones's fingers rather than the toe of Davis's bat.
Davis on 35 from 52 deliveries. Cox on 28, 142 for 8. Ball that comes in, it's short. Oh, that's an interesting baseball bat style shot. Back up the field, nearly hit Cox. And the ball racing up towards the far end. Bedingham slides in. It's gone for 4.
15 love.
Get out of the ruck there, didn't he?
It was more like
it was a
two-hand forehand, wasn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
The old straight pull shot, and there's a 50 partnership. Yeah, excellent between these two.
52 and 83 balls.
Putting some respectability, and Davis being the aggressor, he has 39 and closing in on a career best.
I'd love to see him get his half century. Little landmark.
Yeah, absolutely. Been well deserved so far. Showing a bit of fight at the end, these two.
2 slips in place as Fernando comes around the wicket. It's
fully
an attempted Yorker, but it's a very low full toss, and that is driven past point for 4 to the Castle stand.
Right now, Davo. Don't get heady.
Keep going. 150 up for Leicestershire. 8 wickets down. Davis has raced on to 43. Cox on 28.
Down at 56 now. Yeah.
I think there's a few on the balcony. I think there are. Yeah, they'd love to see it. They'd love to see it.
tell you what's naughty from Durham as well, and I quite like it, is that on the Durham side of the balcony, they've got heaters.
Next ball is wide. Davis goes down on one knee and tries to cut and play and
And
misses.
not on the away side.
It's been remarked upon. Lovely warm sort of heaters up in the pushing air.
You can see the glow from here. If you have a look above the Durham change room, you can see the orange glow, which is the reflection off the two heaters. And yeah.
Means you can sit out in reasonable comfort.
Yes. Leicestershire requiring
Send.
extra layers.
Change of ends for Parky then.
Not quite Wimbledon of the old days in football where the whole change room was black.
And
The plumbing didn't work. And yeah.
all that
Did you
sort
say
of
this
stuff.
is his last match for Leicestershire?
He's out of contract.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's he has been told it.
Yeah.
There's going to be another one. Which kind of begs the question, although he's doing well here, why they didn't play someone who was going to be here next year, say like Roman Walker or someone like that, just, because they would need it more. And he has bowled, he has been good in recent games, Will, but thinking ahead. So Parkinson, having changed ends into Cox, who's forward on off stump, getting to the pitch of the ball, just pushing it out to Borthwick, an extra cover. No run, 150 up, as we've been saying. 28 to Cox, who waits as Parkinson tosses one up outside off stump. He goes for that sort of slightly cross-batted drive away through the offside, reaching for it. Doesn't get there. You'll see Ackerman play a few of those.
It's a slap drive, isn't it?
Yeah. But it always jars for me with Ackerman because he's so correct in absolutely everything else he does. In goes Parkinson and bowls, turned calmly by Cox to the man on the 45, Beddingham. He plays so straight otherwise that it always looks a bit odd when Ackers does it, but he does it pretty well, mostly. Concern is in, outside off stump, it's left. It didn't turn back and it wasn't the googly. So perhaps, who knows, perhaps Cox is picking it.
Well, if anybody's got a chance of picking it, it'll be Cox as a keeper. That is for sure.
Field comes in as Parkinson is into Cox, who sweeps or attempts to sweep and attempts very nicely indeed out to mid-wicket. Or. So there'll be a point at which Durham, although indulging this partnership,
As
will not be relishing it. It becomes irritating.
Nuisance factor is pretty high right now.
I think we're fairly close to that point. 60. They've added now for the 9th wicket. Cox on to 32. Parkinson into him. Bowls. Cox forward and leaves again. Looks like he knows which way the ball is turning. End of the over. 154 for 8. An update balls, which I wasn't necessarily sure before lunch I was going to have to do.
Still hanging in there.
Still here.
Yep. Still fighting on Leicestershire. 154 for 8. Will Davis, 43, not out, closing in on a career best. And Ben Cox on 32, laying a marker down for his future endeavours here at the Foxes. And Vishwa Fernando is going to continue from the Lumley and he's going to bowl left arm around the wicket to Davis as one of the helmets disappears off the ground, which I'm assuming would be in Beddingham's, who has occasionally been jumping into either leg slip or short leg throughout the innings. There are 3 men out on the hook. As Fernando comes in, left arm around the wicket, and this one short and beats the bat as Davis has a swing at that one. Not deterred by the 3 men out catching.
There's 4 on the hook if you take a top edge in.
Yeah, and we're going to have Michael Jones is going to come out of slip and go into a fly slip position. So we have Potts at fine leg, Bushnell at deep backward square, and we've got Alex Lees out on the, 20 yards in from the boundary at forward square leg. And Michael Jones now at a fly slip / fine third man. As Fernando comes in again and bowls is short, and it's absolutely smashed by Davis, and that brings up a career best 47 for him as it races away to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. Beautiful shot there, camping on the back foot. Fernando not getting that high enough, and Davis putting it away for 4 out towards the electronic scoreboard side of the ground.
So what's the score now?
158 for 8.
So 64 the partnership.
And only 3 runs away from a maiden first-class 50. It's Fernando again. Comes in left arm around the wicket. This one's full, and it's punched away into the covers. And he should get at least 2. As Parkinson chases it all the way. And in fact, he's going to get 3, and he'll come back for his 50. So a big round of applause from the Leicestershire fans who are in front of the members' pavilion, and to all his teammates on the balcony. Well played, Will Davis. His 50 coming up in 58 balls with 6 fours and a 6. Well done to him, fighting on his potentially his last game of first-class cricket. He might just turn around to the Leicestershire coach and board and say, any chance? Or maybe somebody else will be looking at this and think, we could have a go at this guy. As the field is now spread out with Cox being on strike, although there is 2 slips in place. Parkinson drops out to deep point, and we have the 3 remaining catches out on the leg side. Swish for Fernando. Bowls this one. It's tucked to mid-on, where Bedingham does the fielding, but Cox races through for a quick single. More than happy to keep giving Davis a strike, as he is the aggressor in the partnership. 162 now for 8. As we said, this partnership adding real nuisance factor. There's probably a few people going, we should have taken the extra half an hour around the ground. But Durham still 2 wickets away from victory. As Fernando comes in, and this one's swatted away, and Bedingham does the fielding at mid-on. Davis trying to get hold of another short ball from Fernando. Not quite timing that one. But he moves on to 51, and the score under 163 for 8. Fernando's going to come back over the wicket this time to Cox. So all the slips now take and the keeper takes an extra step to their right, just to get the angles correct with the left arm over the wicket. And Fernando comes in, and this one's wide outside the off stump, and so wide, in fact, it defeats Robinson, and Michael Jones collects it just inside the boundary with a sliding stop. He does well. So that's either going to be, it is byes, and Robinson will be a bit filthy about that because it was short and wide.
I don't think they are throwing it as 2.
Yeah, it's 2 byes.
Yeah, no, I don't think the news is coming to us. I'm just checking to make sure they're not. Just announce the stats for Davis as 50. There you are, no, they haven't. Next bulletin's at 20 to 4 on the network show between Tees and Newcastle. So, a little bit of niggle value here from Leicester.
Yeah, good. Love it.
Comfortably avoided their previous lowest score against Durham, which was 101.
165 for 8 now on the board.
149 behind. Mentioned this morning about Leicestershire batting out the day last year. Final day. Did it 2 or 3 years ago as well with Mark Cosgrove in the middle. Parkinson having a chat with Scott Borthwick. Davis on 51. 2 out on the deep, on the leg side. Parkinson comes in and bowls. Davis leaves that. It's gone into the keeper's gloves. It's 2:05. Final day of the season. Parkinson comes in and bowls. Davis
Ooh.
steps across the stumps and then changes his mind about the slog that we were about to see. And the ball ends up thumping into the keeper's gloves, into the keeper's pads. In fact, I think there's a ledge into the pad there. Parkinson bowls. Davis goes high. I think he should get away with this one. Oh, has that gone over the rope for 6? It has. Graham Clark did ever so well to get round to there. I didn't think he was going to get anywhere near that ball. And he dived along the rope, got a hand to it, but it just, well, nearly got a hand to it, just beat him and landed beyond the boundary 4-6 at the foot of the County Durham stand.
Will Davis is thinking, where was all this luck throughout the entirety of the rest of my first-class batting career? Well, the cricket is smiling on him.
Yeah, good luck to him. Whatever happens next in his career, hopefully gets picked up somewhere else.
This is played the other way to the covers, no run.
Not a nice time of the year when players are being released from clubs.
No.
Having to find their way outside of cricket.
Next ball pushed up to Fernando at mid-off, 1 run.
When for some of them, cricket is all they've known. So it's a scary big world out there, which for most of our listeners, we don't feel a great deal of sympathy for them, but for those that this is all they've known, it is a tough time in their life to transition into our world.
That skids through to the keeper, and that's the end of the over.
PCA are much better, has become much better, haven't they?
Agree.
Preparing players for that big scary world out there. And they don't have to take advantage of it, do they? But there are lots of opportunities, in terms of training and things like that.
Absolutely.
Always going on with the PCA.
Yeah, there's a lot of initiatives going around, and each club now has their reps that are involved, and then there's regional reps outside of that, and they do a great job, the PCA. And thankfully that helps a lot of players transition out of the professional game into the real world.
I'm not sure who the PCA rep at Leicestershire is. It was Hilly for a while. It may still be. Must check out that. Who's the PCA rep at Durham?
It's a really good question. I don't think Ben Rain's involved there. It was Rushy was involved in that for a long time with the PCA and has done a lot of good work.
I think Ben Rain might be.
Yeah, I think it's Ben, yeah.
He did it certainly at Leicester for a while. Beautiful sunshine now here. Up in the northeast, as Fernando, looking for this breakthrough, comes in, bowls to Davis, who covers up, walks into a defensive push. Nice little twinkle toes as he pushes it out to Borthwick. Extra cover. 58 to Davis, 33 to Cox, 172 for 8, so 78. Now, this partnership for the 9th wicket is worth. And we'll start looking up records. 9th wicket records for Leicestershire v Durham. In goes Fernando and bowls thick inside edge and sees the ball as it comes back in towards him. On the back foot, Davis, it drops out into the offside. He's momentarily interested in the possibility of a quick single. Disabused of the notion quickly by Fox. And the crowd starting to
89.
not exactly get impatient. 89, thank you for that. How long ago was that?
93.
Fernando is in outside off stumper. No foot movement. Attempt to swat it away in the offside off the back foot as such and doesn't get anything on it.
Benjamin and Parsons at Grace Road, 1993.
Make a note just in case. 10th 8.
And the 10th wicket is 84. Phil de Freitas and Crow here in 2000.
So a little bit of work to do yet to get to that record-breaking stage by these two. Fernando is in. Bowls. It bowled him! Well, it's my fault for talking about records. Apologies to Will Davis and to Leicestershire supporters. Davis again, minimal foot movement, kicks at the air and raises his eyes to the heavens in annoyance, but he's done pretty well. Fernando too has done pretty well. Davis walks from the field for the last time with a first-class best to his name, but Durham now on the brink.
Yeah, fair play to Will Davis. Could have quite easily thrown in the towel the way that Leicestershire were going in their second innings, having to follow on and in all sorts of trouble, and he's can walk off with his head held high with a career best 58 being bowled there by Vishwa Fernando, who hit the top of off stump and saw the stump again cartwheeling out, and he gets a fine round of applause from the crowd as Durham are now 1 wicket away from victory here at the Riverside as Josh Hull strides out to the wicket, the big left-hander, to join Ben Cox, who has been a really solid 33, you would say. He hasn't looked in any trouble whatsoever.
I think this is where I will bow out, let the Durham boys talk their side through at the end of what has been a sensational season, and congratulations to Durham and everybody, and just a big thanks as ever to everybody for putting up with me for yet another season at Leicestershire. And hey, trophy.
Yeah, you've got silverware
For the first time.
Excellent.
Well, in the bigger
Went
scheme
well,
of things,
folks.
in the bigger scheme of things, Richard, a trophy, nearly, being in the promotion hunt until
Yeah,
an ultimate week.
yeah. I mean,
Given
you
those
look at the
years where you
side
never
now,
thought them win a game.
without that middle order of Hanscom and Ackerman and Mulder, you can see sort of where the strength of the side lay, and sort of how, in those terms, the sort of relative lack of depth. And you would have feared for us a little bit had Leicestershire gone up in this, not the way that you kind of look forward to if you're a Durham supporter. But yeah, on the whole, we'll take what we got. Went well, folks.
Fernando then 3 for 29 in 8.4 overs, bowling to Josh Hull in swinger. Hull plays it to 2 Potts at point, no runner there.
Big left-hander getting on the front foot nice and early. He's a huge presence out in the middle, Josh Hull. Well, 6'7" of him. Strongly built as well. It's not as if he's a slight 6'7". Yeah, you can. Richard just said if you didn't hear that, he's a big farm boy, and he looks it.
And he's powerful with a scythe in his hand. And this one. It's, the meadows that need cutting every now and then. It's not a wicket maiden for Fernando.
Might lift the tractors to change the tyres, but I'm not sure about the side. He gets off the mark anyway with a back foot punch into the offside.
Scoreboard says wicket maiden,
and it
Fernando,
just wasn't.
It was a single at the end there.
Hull is off the mark. I don't think they've updated it yet. Hull's still on 0 on the scoreboard. So I'll have to maybe go back and re-enter that ball into... There we go. We're all square. Hull on 1, Cox on 33 with his... We're just going to leave it there. Parkinson is going to continue from the Finkel end. 173 for 9.
What's he taking? 2 for 27 in 9. Got 2 wickets in his first over.
He did, yeah.
One with his second ball when he...
It's big stumping.
Got Scriven stumped. He bowls, Hull defends. Ball just rolling out on the offside. It's a lovely sunny day now. Nice breeze. Probably quite a good drying day, Ash.
It would be.
Yeah. Get the footy teams
Get the strip done.
Parkinson has a short mid-wicket. He comes in and bowls. Hull watches that one go through and then plays it late. And I'm not sure if that went through the keeper's gloves and ended up at the feet of Potts at first slip or not there. What's he done there?
I'm not sure.
Potts has dropped it. I think it's gone over the keeper's knee.
It's a
Potts
tough
got
one
it late.
there.
Quite tight. Parkinson once more comes in and an attempted sweep from Hull. It's missed the leg stump.
He's teasing us, Josh Hull. He's going to come round the wicket now, Parkinson. And if you try and rip a leggy out of the rough or float it wrong enough round the wicket, he's got plenty of toys.
Parkinson comes round. Hull looks the cut, then changes his mind as he leaves the wrong one. He's racing through this over. 2 balls left. There's decent crowd in now. Wickets and bowls.
That's all over.
And Durham have wrapped up victory by 100 in innings and 140 runs. Hull is out for one, edging 2 Potts. High fives. Leicestershire all out for 173. Hull caught by Matty Potts. Off the bowling of Parkinson in his final game for Durham. So he's out for one. Durham win by an innings and 141.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Durham. They finished the season off on a high after being confirmed as promoted and then champions in recent weeks. And now the team, actually a really nice moment as I shake hands with the ground staff and thank them after shaking hands with the umpires and the opposition, because it is a real team effort to get everything in the right place, and you commend them from the boardroom down to Marcus North appointing Ryan Campbell when a change needed to happen, and that seems to have injected a whole heap of positivity here at the Riverside, and that's shone through with some really aggressive batting this season, where the average run rate, I don't have the stats to hand, but you would think would have been above 4.5 and over throughout the season.
Game, yeah. It was the only team in the country as well.
Yeah, and then the bowling, like you say, there's been some bowlers come in and out of the system with Kuhneman and Pretorius and Fernando, but Ben Rain, 60 wickets, absolutely outstanding. Matty Potts has been superb as well, and the batting has been out of this world. Contributions all the way through, from Alex Lees being shortlisted for the Player of the Year to wicketkeeper Ollie Robinson throwing a real injection into the team, and the resurrection of Graham Clark's red ball career. And just huge congratulations to everybody at Durham, all the players, all the ground staff, and everybody behind the scenes. Well done.
Well, they're heading off 233 points for the season. They're third best in terms of points achieved. The best 245.5 in 2013. That was, I think, the 16-game season then. Prior to that, 240 in 2009. So to achieve what they've done this year, maximum batting points so many times, 8 times, they've ended up with 54 batting points, 39 bowling points. And deserved champions, 7 wins, 1 defeat, 6 draws. Most of the draws were weather-affected draws. And that 1 defeat at the start of the season at Hove, where things just didn't quite go well the third morning when Finn Hudson-Prentice came into the game as fresh as a daisy to replace George Garton, who had supposedly got a concussion the day before. Garton hadn't particularly bowled very well. And Finn Hudson-Prentice took 4 wickets on the morning and just turned the game on its head. And even then, Sussex, not chasing the biggest of targets on the final day, only just got over the line, 8 wickets down. And then Durham never really looked back from that. They won the next match. They were topped by the second week, so they just failed to beat Sussex. Sussex target 231. They got 232 for 8. And then they were actually 208 for 8 and needing 23 when Ollie Carter came in. Following game, they beat Worcestershire by 121 runs. Then they went to Glamorgan, drew there.
The rain
there, came here and beat Derbyshire by an innings and 7 runs, and so on. Beat Yorkshire in a very dramatic match here with just a wicket to spare. Final morning, chasing 246. Ben Rain getting 50 not out on that occasion. And by then they were sailing, and at one point they had 4 wins. Nobody else had more than 1, so they finished with 7. Worcestershire have got 5 to their names at the moment. Other games still going on, but what a way to wrap things up. And a decent crowd now in. People swapping the County Durham stand and heading round to the pavilion for the presentation. Handshakes on the balcony between the players and the staff. And now it's all about Division 1, Ash.
Yeah. Lots to like around Durham, the style of play. There's a few in Division 1 that might get a shock. The average scoring rate in there is probably around the 2.5, 3 runs and over mark. So Durham will surprise a few, but also they'll come up against some better bowling attacks. So lots of exciting times ahead. And what I'd love to see from Durham now is to continue to build on this red ball season, but can we just see, I don't want to put a negative on it, a little bit more from our white ball. So if we can put all that together, then there's some really exciting times to come from Durham. And once again, huge congratulations from Marcus to Ryan to the team to everyone at the club.
Well, let's look at the bowling figures for this innings then. Ben Rain, 1 for 24. And while that might not stand out particularly from his 9 overs, he kept it tight, but that 1 wicket will go down in the Rain household because that was his 60th wicket of the season, the first time he got 60 in a championship season. So a milestone there. And he's led the team from the front this year, hasn't he, with the ball in hand?
Yeah, he sure has. He sure has, especially without Rushy around. He's really taken on that mantle as the leader of the attack and thrived on it.
Matthew Potts, 2 for 47 from 16 overs. And the Bladen race is currently being sung. And 1 maiden from him. Potts yesterday getting a wicket as well. So what's that? That's 54 for the season he's finished with. Vishwa Fernando has taken 3 for 40 in 9 overs, 2 maidens. Didn't get a wicket in his first game at Worcester last week, but has taken 7 in this match and bowled some nice lines, left arm angling across the batsman. So 3 for 40 today, 4 for 40 yesterday. Johnny Bushnell, 1 for 20 from 4 overs, no maidens. And Matt Parkinson in his final game of his, how many did we say? 7 or 8 has he played now, Parkinson?
8.
8. Yeah, I think he initially came way back in the spring to play one lone against Derbyshire. And then that was extended to a couple of more games. And then
extended again.
And extended again and extended again. And then he went off in the one-day cup to play for Kent. And then came back to finish off the season here. There was a suggestion at one point that he might not finish the season here. That Lancashire,
Yes.
Lancashire said no, he could come back here. I don't think they wanted him to go to Kent, who were in the same division as them. So he's taken 3 for 27 today with 2 maidens in 9.5 overs. So finishes with 23. And Scott Borthwick 1 over just before lunch, none for 4. And Cox not out 33. He was not out 30 in the first innings. So they're setting up the table for the presentation. The photographers around there, the camera crews are heading around there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean out the window and alter our microphone out there so it's facing in that direction, because at the minute it is facing the other way. David Jackson from the commercial department just addressing the members in the pavilion.
Leading to some comprehensive wins, struggle to Leicester, getting promotion this season, and the dominant displays that we've put in have led us to the winning the two county championships.
Really healthy crowd in front of the members' pavilion.
The last have a man with us who will be familiar to many of you. He's a long-serving board member of the club, and indeed one of the founding members of the club tournament professionals back in 1982. Recreational game. So, like the Bob Jackson,
And the man who will present the trophies to the players is Bob Jackson, who has been extremely heavily involved in Durham over the years and as a first-class county, part of the team who got them to that status.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, interview the 2023 Division 2 champions, Durham.
Here come the lads walking down the stairs to huge applause. Members, who have milled around, and Bob Jackson shaking the hands of each individual player as they walk across to the makeshift podium. Full squad there. And the outgoing Liam Travaskis, who will join the Foxes next season. The lads and the coaching staff all out there now, and the support staff.
Welcome. Thanks for his contributions this year. Local lad and county player. It's going to collect the trophy from Bob Jackson.
As you heard there, Scott Borthwick collecting the trophy from Bob Jackson. He's now going to take it over to the lads. Well, I'm sure they'll take a photo, and then champagne will now flow. A hugely important moment here for Durham Cricket as they return to Division 1 for the 2024 season. It's been 7 years in the process. There's been some dark times that we won't go into. The wind really picks up there. It's actually that strong it's blowing the Tobler roads across the outfield. But it's been 7 years of hurt from a Durham perspective, and they will now feel that they've finally put those days of hurt to bed by returning to Division 1, where we rightly feel we belong.
Yeah, the wind's just got up and the boundary rope's been blowing in a few yards, but what we are looking at is a long lineup of staff now, the scorers, the backroom staff, the dressing room attendants, the players, the coaches, and they're posing for photographs in front of the pavilion. Fantastic scene, 7 years in the doldrums, Durham. The players felt at the time they were the unwitting victims of decisions made in the ECB boardroom and indeed in the Durham boardroom. You see the sides that have got themselves into difficulties in recent times, Middlesex and Yorkshire, and the comparisons in their punishments to what Durham had to deal with at the end of 2016. Well, there isn't really a comparison. Now, though, it's all about building for the future. They feel they've got the backbone of a very strong squad next year. Of course, the question will be whether they can call upon the likes of Alex Lees regularly once again. And that search for an overseas bowler. Now, the photographers have now moved to the other side.
Yeah, I like this. I think they're trying to get the members and everybody that's here supporting them in the background, which it should make for some excellent...
I'll turn that down because it feels like we're at Ice Station Zebra at the moment.
It should make for some brilliant photos.
Turn that one down as well.
As the players assemble now in front of the various sponsor boards to get photos taken with the trophy, with the cheering members, as you can hear behind them now, all a part of the fanfare. And it's just really nice. There's been an excellent energy and, I guess the words, vibe around the Riverside since the arrival of Ryan Campbell. An astute appointment by Marcus North. And the players have fed off that energy and produced some outstanding cricket this season. Unluckily losing the first game. Well, not unluckily, but close game. And then from there, victories all the way through with a couple of draws in there, pretty much impacted by the weather. But Durham rightly champions of Division 2 and promoted through Division 1 for the 2024 season.
You think they can more than hold their own next year, Ash?
Yeah, I do. I think they've got some real headaches to solve with the batting lineup. You've brought Colin Ackerman into the side, who's an outstanding player. So where does he fit in? And then you look at, they've brought in Callum Parkinson to bolster the spin department. And then looking for an overseas fast bowler. There's a few rumours going around as to who that might be, whether it's an Australian, somebody the calibre of Scott Boland, I've heard has been rumoured.
See from over your back fence.
He's a long way over my back fence, from Victoria, who burst onto the Australian scene late on in his career. But Australia and South Africa, as Marcus North mentioned the other day, don't have a lot of test match cricket over the county season.
Just looking at the presentation now, and it appears David Jackson is with Scott Borthwick. Not sure we're going to be able to hear this, actually. Yeah, unfortunately, I think the wind is a bit against us. Scott Borthwick this year didn't bowl so much. He fractured his finger earlier in the year and it was quite a nasty break, but his captaincy has been fantastic. With the bat, he ended up with 667 runs, 2 centuries, including 134 not out at Worcester last week when Durham secured the title. And as well, if you look at the amount of overs lost, 1,192 overs lost. Roughly 4.5 an over, and I think that's what we said they've been going at this year. Somebody pointed out in a text to me the other day, that was nearly 5,000 runs, and obviously every year you're not going to play all your overs, but and this was also, by the way, in all formats, but imagine if that was, if all those overs were bowled, and of course some of them wouldn't need to be because games would have finished early and that kind of thing, but that's 5,364 runs.
Crazy.
It's an incredible amount, isn't it? That wasn't scored because of the weather. So, runs-wise, 54 batting points, 39 bowling points. Incredible stuff. More team picks now. With the backroom staff included as well. Some of the team from the catering department as well in there. The ground staff, importantly. Can't underestimate the part that Victor Main and his team play. Up all hours, all summer. Here first thing in the morning. Going to bed last thing at night.
Produced some excellent surfaces for some quality cricket this year. And he had a grin on his face the other day when I said, is this pitch prepared as much as you want it? And he went, well, they're still going at 4.5 and over. So he had a big smile on his face.
Yeah, he came to me a few weeks ago and asked me could I dig out the records in terms of where their season sat batting points wise. And that was when we realised they were on the verge of another record. I think that was the Sussex game, and they got a few points in that Sussex match to take them to the point where I think their next batting point at Worcester was taking them into record territory, 50 points for the first time. No, sorry, actually, that took them level. They got the batting points at Worcester to take them level with their record, 49 points. Then they got 5 here this time around as well. So from a batting point of view, Alex Lees, 1,347 runs at an average of 70.8, a strike rate of 73.7, 5 centuries and 5 50s. And this was a lad who was considered not good enough to get into the England setup this year. And then David Bedingham, 1,019 runs, an incredible conversion rate for him. He scored 5 centuries as well, but just the 1 half century. So that conversion rate of
incredible.
So just the one time he got the 50 where he never got to 100. Amazing, isn't it?
Scoring hundreds in both innings of some games as well. It was a big turnaround. I had the pleasure of doing the members for him, and I asked him what was the change in him, and he just said, listen, he says he wasn't looking too far ahead and trying to get back in the England team so much, but just concentrating on the here and now.
There you are then. I think they've just announced the members forum. Did they say in November, possibly?
Not sure.
Can't remember what they said there. Right, well, we'll leave it there. I don't think my throat can take much more, to be honest with you. It gave up the ghost about mid-July, but we got to the end of the season. My thanks to Ash, as ever, who, when he comes to join us, does it all out of the goodness of his heart, and has spent many hours on the mic over the years here, and now juggles that, of course, with coaching with Parkview Academy of Sport. But from Chesley Street for this 2023 season, thank you for all of your company this year, all of your messages, your tweets, your emails, and basically just for being there, because without you, of course, we wouldn't be doing it. And enjoy the celebrations, drink responsibly over the weekend, and hopefully we'll see you all next year. But from here, it is goodbye.